Chapter 1131. Let's see how fast the wicked bead is. Luli was reminded that the wicked bead's speed had increased. Luli paid no more attention to the new hall. He flew the wicked bead up and out of the valley of cherry blossoms. Whoosh! In midair, Luli flew the wicked bead at full speed. The wicked bead trembled and then began to glow. In a blur, the wicked bead dashed into the distance. Well, Luli sensed it. He was surprised. He felt that the wicked bead was even faster than the immortal's body. The immortal's body was 10 times faster than warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm. If the wicked bead was several times faster, then the wicked bead should be faster than an average immortal. That being said, the wicked bead was said to be a supreme relic. It was understandable that the wicked bead would be faster than an average immortal. After all, supreme relics were treasures that not even mighty warriors in the divinity could have. Wait, on second thought, if the wicked bead really was a supreme relic, then it would be unworthy of the title if this was all it could do. Up until now, the wicked bead had not shown any extraordinary abilities. Its defense was not strong, and its speed was not impressive either. The distance it could travel was too short. Now, there was a hall with materials for forging artifacts, which was not of much use to Luli. Immortal's body, full speed ahead. Luli sent out the immortal's body. He flew for a while and then chased after the immortal's body. A moment later, Luli concluded that the wicked bead should be 3 to 5 times faster than the immortal's body. Theoretically speaking, the wicked bead should be faster than an average immortal. Let's go back. A moment later, Luli put away the immortal's body and flew back in the wicked bead. He did not fly at full speed. On the way back, he was thinking about when it was time to set off. Some blood feuds must be avenged. Otherwise, Luli would dream about his deceased people. He would not be able to live up to his conscience if he did not try his best. I will set off after a month's rest. If Qiling, Qiuxue, and Xiaoshuang are willing to go, I will bring them to the purgatory of primordial chaos. Luli had a feeling that he would ascend to the divinity soon. Therefore, he would like to spend as much time as he could with his 3 wives. Back at the Valley of Cherry Blossoms, Luli found that Jiang Qiling and the twins were all there. They were strolling with little Lu and in the Valley of Cherry Blossoms. After not seeing him for more than 2 months, little Lu and could already walk very well. He looked like a tiger and was very likable. Husband, seeing that Luli was back, the 3 of them went to greet him with Lu and had never seen Luli before. He said timidly, "Dad, and Luan be good?" Luli picked Luan up and patted his head affectionately. Luan was Lu Li's son now. Even if he didn't adopt Luan, he could be Lu An's godson given his relationship with Yi Luo and Lu Hongyu. Naturally, Luli liked Lu, and Lu Xingyang arrived with Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heiqi after chatting with them for a while. Luli dissolved the soul contract between the 2 on the spot and set them free. "Thank you, my lord." Though Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heiqi had regained their freedom, they did not dare to do anything. They knew Lu Li's strength very well. Luli could kill them easily. They no longer hated Lu Li. After all, Luli had helped them kill many warriors of the Yan family. He had avenged their ancestors. "Okay." Luli waved his hand. "I will set off for the purgatory of primordial chaos in a month. You can go back with me." Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heiqi thanked him and left. Luli handed the bead of wood to Lu Xingyang and said, "Grandpa, keep this. It will be a treasure of our family." Jiang Qiling had sent a message to Lu Xingyang 2 months ago. The latter knew why Lu Li was looking for him. Lu Xingyang did not take the bead of wood. Instead, he shook his head and said, "Lu Li, aren't you going to the prison of gold? Go find your father and give him this artifact. I'm too old to use it." Lu Li nodded in agreement. It was said that Lu Renhuang had reached the semi-god realm. He might have a breakthrough in his abilities. The relic would be a great help to him. Lu Xingyang was only at the Earth Immortal Realm. It was pointless for him to have the bead of wood. The disciples of the Lu family have been quiet, haven't they? Did they cause any trouble? It was rare for Lu Xingyang to come over. Luli chatted with him for a bit. Lu Xingyang nodded and said, They have been sensible recently. Nobody dares to cause trouble. Only some are enjoying themselves. I don't like to mind them. Luli, my father and I have discussed. We have decided to set up a system in the family. What do you think? Oh, Luli was interested. He asked, what system? Lu Xingyang organized his thoughts and said, I'm going to set up a system in the family, a reward and punishment system. Disciples of the immediate family and the branches can get resources as long as they work hard. If they don't work hard, even the immediate disciples will have their resources reduced and their salaries reduced. They will also be punished. Usually, disciples of the immediate family would enjoy a high status in the family. After all, their fathers enjoyed a high status in the family. They would have all kinds of resources. Even if something went wrong, their fathers would be there to clean up after them. In this way, many playboys had been created, which had led to a bad atmosphere and tarnished the reputation of the Lu family. Lu Xingyang was going to use the punishment and reward system to motivate the disciples to cultivate and adjust their mentality. This was to lay the foundation for the long-term development of the Lu family. The Lu family was prosperous and its status was high. Disciples of the Lu family could do whatever they wanted. For example, Lu Guangting, the patriarch of the Lu family, was intimidated by the Zhao family. At the end of the day, Lu Guangting was not a patriarch of the Lu family. How could he have such a reputation? Lu Li thought for the time for one incense stick to burn before he said, Grandpa, I have a suggestion for you. Select a core disciple from within the family. Regardless of the immediate family or the branches, the core disciple can be recruited as long as he is talented and has a good character. The core disciple can enjoy the highest treatment and power. At the same time, announce to the public that those who are not core disciples of the Lu family are not qualified to call themselves disciples of the Lu family. Let the Hall of Patriarchs have the right to evaluate core disciples. More than half of the patriarchs must approve the core disciples. Core disciple? Lu Xingyang's eyebrows were knitted together. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiushue's eyes glowed. After a while, Jiang Qiling stood up and said, That is a good idea. Go, when invite my grandpa over. In the future, the Jiang family will have this system as well. Darling, this is a wonderful idea. Bai Qiushue agreed. Talent and character are the only things that matter. Also, those who are not core disciples are not qualified to call themselves disciples of the Lu family. This system will pave a way for the disciples of the branches to ascend to the heavens. At the same time, many disciples of the immediate family will be forced to cultivate harder. This is a virtuous cycle. The family will have more powerful warriors. This is a good idea, Lu Zhengyang said with hesitation. But I think most patriarchs will object to this idea. After all, this will hurt their interests. Lu Xingyang was right to worry. Once this system was set up, disciples of the immediate family and those of the branches would have the same starting line. If their descendants did not work hard, they would soon be replaced by disciples of the branches. When they died of old age, they would become collateral relatives. The branches that they had been stepping on might turn around and step on them. This system was against the interests of all the patriarchs. Most of the patriarchs would object to it as soon as it was proposed. By then, it would not be a good thing for the family. Chapter 1132. Lu Li's proposal would offend the interests of many people in power in the Lu family. If Lu Xingyang were to carry it out by himself, it would be more difficult than ever. When a family patriarch opposed all the patriarchs, the family patriarch might be boycotted or even be impeached at the conference of patriarchs. The Hall of Patriarchs of any family had a supreme power. With the consent of more than half of the patriarchs, the family patriarch could abdicate. Therefore, usually, the family patriarch would not take the risk of offending most of the patriarchs and force the decision. Someone might have thought of Lu Li's proposal before, but it was too difficult to implement. Therefore, it never happened in history. With Lu Li's support, Lu Zhengyang didn't have to worry about this. Lu Li's prestige was so high that it was even higher than that of Patriarch of Law Enforcement. Also, Lu Li was unreasonable in certain aspects. If someone was not convinced and came to Lu Li, Luli would kick that person out and expel him from the Lu family, if not kill him. Lu Xingyang went back and discussed with Patriarch of Law Enforcement. Patriarch of Law Enforcement agreed with Lu Li's idea. Lu Xingyang called a conference of patriarchs at once and proposed a decision. As expected, most of the patriarchs objected to the proposal. Even great-grandfather 5 expressed his disapproval in a subtle way. Some patriarchs were enraged. They said that if Lu Xingyang insisted on carrying out the proposal, they would leave the Lu family. Lu Xingyang said nothing. After the patriarchs made some high-sounding arguments, filled with righteous indignation, Lu Xingyang said casually, "Lu Li is the one who made the suggestion. He said that he has made up his mind. Anyone who is not convinced can go and argue with him." He also said he will not hold back anyone who wants to leave the Lu family. As soon as Lu Xingyang finished his words, the entire place was silent. The patriarchs, who were filled with righteous indignation, just now sat there in embarrassment. They could not utter a word of rebuttal. Who was Lu Li? He was the leader of the Heaven Reverse Universe. He fought against more than 100 semi-god realm warriors alone, killed most of them, and went to the Waters region. Later on, the Yin family patriarch came with a relic weapon and a relic armor, but he was smashed to death as well. Lu Li's prestige had reached the peak. Some even placed him on the same level as Emperor of Heaven Reverse. He believed that an altar should be set up for Lu Li so that people of the Great Land could worship him day and night. Lu Li's power and prestige were one thing. Patriarchs of the Lu family were afraid of Lu Li's character. Because Lu Li did not grow up in the Lu family, he was not cared for by the Lu family. Furthermore, he had been suppressed and antagonized by the Lu family. He had relied entirely on himself to get where he was and had little to do with the Lu family. He did not have deep feelings for the Lu family. Apart from Lu Xingyang, great-grandfather 5, and a few others, it was hard for the others to talk to Lu Li. Lu Li never gave them the chance to meet and bond. Therefore, if anyone dared to make trouble with Lu Li, they would end up being suppressed by Lu Li by force. There would be no mercy. If he angered Lu Li, he would kill him without mercy. Lu Xingyang had said that Lu Li would not force anyone to quit the Lu family. In other words, these elders could either execute this decision or withdraw from the Lu family. Withdraw from the Lu family? Had their brains been kicked by a donkey? The Lu family was the most powerful family in the Heaven Reverse universe. The Lu family had occupied the most resources. If they were to abdicate, many powerful warriors would join the Lu family and fight for their positions. Therefore, even though many were against it, the decision was carried out smoothly. Hearing that it was Lu Li's decision, great-grandfather 5 said no more and supported the decision. Patriarchs of the Lu family discussed for a day and a night. In the end, they came up with various rules. The rules stated clearly, any disciple of the Lu family, whether they were from the immediate or the branch, under the age of 30, could become a core disciple. Even the top talents of the affiliated families could become core disciples of the Lu family, provided that they changed their surname to Lu. Core disciples could enjoy the best cultivation resources and could publicize that they were disciples of the Lu family. They could enjoy all kinds of benefits. In other words, core disciples of the Lu family would be the most distinguished young masters and young ladies of the Lu family. The entire Lu family was in an uproar when the news spread out, especially among the younger generation. Many young masters and young ladies of the immediate family gathered together, ready to make a scene. After all, once the rules were implemented, not only would they lose access to the best cultivation resources of the Lu family, they could not even tell others that they were disciples of the Lu family. The Hall of Patriarchs said that it was Lu Li's decision. The young masters and young ladies of the Lu family dared not to make a scene. Lu Zhantian was still waiting for his death in a small town. Who dared to offend Lu Li? After a few days of chaos, the Lu family disciples accepted the reality. The disciples of the branches and branches of the Lu family were overjoyed. Some elites of the affiliated families were overjoyed as well. Many of them might be as talented as disciples of the immediate Lu family. With the best resources, they could soar. Many disciples of the Lu family's branches and branches began to cultivate hard, preparing for the comprehensive test in half a month. The disciples of the immediate Lu family stopped fooling around because of the pressure. They began to cultivate. The Lu family had entered a healthy competition. If the system could be implemented, the Lu family would grow stronger and stronger. In a matter of days, the news of the system reform of the Lu family reached the ears of the major families. The four families were the first to receive the news. Jiang Tianshun summoned the patriarchs of the Jiang family overnight for a discussion. However, he was met with strong resistance. Similarly, the family patriarchs of the Yi family and the Kong family wanted to implement the system as well. After all, once the system was implemented, their families would grow stronger. The system would lay a solid foundation for the family's everlasting glory. The family patriarchs of the current generation would be recorded in history. The system offended many people with vested interests. The resistance was greater than before. Yi family, Jiang family, and the Kong family were in a stalemate. On the other hand, the system was implemented by some small families after it was disseminated. The family patriarchs of some 4th and 5th rank families had absolute authority. They enforced the system despite the opposition of the patriarchs. There was also a family patriarch of a 5th rank family who was quite domineering. He killed a patriarch, and the system was implemented immediately. The larger the family was, the more factions there would be, and the more conflicts of interest would be involved. On the other hand, the family members would not act rashly. Otherwise, the family would fall apart, which would be disastrous. Half a month later, the Lu family core disciple selection began. Lu Jingyang asked Lu Li to take charge. Lu Li came with Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiuxue, and Bai Xiaoshuang. Many young disciples looked at him with admiration. Amid the passionate cheers of many young disciples and the invitation from patriarchs of the Lu family, Lu Li had no choice but to go to the arena to say a few words. Facing the dense crowd, Lu Li's expressions didn't change. He slowly walked onto the ring, as if he were taking a stroll in his backyard. He glanced over the crowd and said in a low voice. His voice was heard by all the young disciples. Many of you will be grateful to me, and many will hate me. What I want to tell you is, we live in hardship and perish in ease. Without a sense of crisis, a family will decline soon. Without a good competitive mechanism, a family cannot produce more powerful warriors. Only those who can fight their way out of a great number of enemies can lead the Lu family to greater heights. If you cannot surpass your own disciples, how can you look down on the others and sweep across the world? Being a disciple of the Lu family is an honor as well as a shackle. I hope that today you'll be proud of being a disciple of the Lu family. Tomorrow, the Lu family will be proud of you. Let me be proud of you. Chapter 1133. For the first selection, the Lu clan selected more than 60 core disciples. Less than half of them were disciples from the main family, while the rest were disciples from the side branches and a few elite disciples from the vassal families. Although becoming a core disciple of the Lu family meant that the disciples of the vassal families had to change their surnames to Lu, on the other hand, becoming a core disciple would mean soaring to the sky. Not only would the core disciple have a great reputation in the Heaven Reverse universe, he would also have access to top-level resources. In a few decades, he would become one of the most powerful warriors of the Great Land. Lu Li left the rest of the matter to Lu Zhengyang and the others. During this time, he spent most of his time with Jiang Qiling and the other two. Sometimes, he would cultivate Xian energy and consume some soul-nurturing pellets. After reaching the Earth immortal realm, the cultivation of dark force and soul was no longer important. What was important was the enlightenment of profound meaning. Of course, if one's profound energy could be thicker and their soul could be stronger, it would still be of some help to their strength. Lu Li had asked Jiang Qiling, Bai Qiuxue, and Bai Xiaoshuang. None of them wanted to leave the prison of gold with him. Jiang Qiling and Bai Qiuxue had to take care of Lu, and Bai Xiaoshuang wanted to go with him. But then she remembered that Lu Li was going to a dangerous place. By then, she would have to stay in the Wicked Bead every day. It would be pointless for her to go. Lu Li didn't insist. He planned to take Little White with him, and you, of course. After all, he was needed to monitor the overall situation. He was not Lu Li's spiritual beast, but Lu Li did not intend to let her go back to the Paleobeast realm. Instead, he asked Yu to relocate the Bond Beasts to the Heaven Reverse universe. The Bond Beasts would be affiliated to the Lu family and given priority in resources. Naturally, Yu agreed. Going back to work for Master Fairy Fox would not lead to a bright future. Lu Li was a powerful warrior that could kill the Yin family patriarch. Also, he knew that Lu Li was going to leave a relic for the Lu family. She believed that before Lu Li went to the divinity, he would make arrangements for the Lu family. Her family would have a bright future if they stayed with the Lu family. Lu Li called Kumang to the Valley of Cherry Blossoms and then gave him 10 books on inhibition formations. He didn't want Kumang to read, but to copy. There were too many books on formations in that hall, and many of them were divine formations. For the Sky Illusion tribe, which loved formations and restrictions, it was the most precious treasure. For Kumang, the 10 books on formation selected by Lu Li were more valuable than 10 relics. Even though Kumang could not refine divine weapons, he could still copy the restriction books, and the Heavenly Illusion tribe would have a super treasure. The Heavenly Illusion tribe might soar in the future because of this. Kumang flipped through it for a while and was moved to tears. He immediately knelt down and swore that the Heavenly Illusion clan would be loyal to the Lu family for generations to come. It would also be the first rule of the Heavenly Illusion clan. Lu Li allowed Kumang to come in and copy books because he wanted to leave a powerful helper for the Lu family. Kumang would be able to create many powerful divine formations after obtaining them, which would be of great help to the Lu clan. The Heavenly Illusion tribe was not good at fighting, but they were good at formations. Such a tribe usually needed to rely on a strong family, so that both sides could benefit from each other. Lu Li didn't let Kumang copy all the books on inhibition formations because he was afraid that the Shadowland race would grow too strong for the Lu family to suppress. Instead, the Shadowland race might swallow the Lu family. This wouldn't have happened when Kumang was still alive. What if the Heavenly Illusion race surpassed the Lu family after thousands or tens of thousands of years? One must always be on guard against others. A month later, Lu Li set off on his journey. Many people came to bid farewell. Almost all the top warriors of the Heaven Reverse universe were here. Jiang Qiling and the twins said nothing, but it was clear that they were unwilling to see Lu Li go. It seemed that Lu Li would never come back after this. Squeak, squeak, standing on Lu Li's shoulder, Little White was happy. This time, Lu Li didn't even bring the dragon demon with him. He let the dragon demon continue to eat the Fey beast egg to evolve. After all, the dragon demon was not psychic yet. It was not strong enough. Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heichi followed behind Lu Li with respect. They didn't show any emotion on their faces, but they were thrilled. Finally, they could go back. They would be free. Behind them were some beasts like the shadow bats. Now that the threat from the 9 universes was over, it was pointless to keep them around. Let's go. Lu Li waved his hand and nodded to Jiang Qiling, by Xia Shuang, and by Qiu Xue. He let Master of Fairy Fox and the twins into the Wicked Bead and himself. Then he flew away in a blur. What? Many people were taken aback. When did the Wicked Bead become so fast? In an instant, the Wicked Bead vanished into the distance. It must be faster than the immortal's body. Many people exclaimed that Lu Li's abilities were becoming more and more enigmatic. Some people were disappointed. The more powerful Lu Li was, the closer he would be to the divinity. Kumang was waiting at the entrance to the prison of earth from the prison of wood. When Lu Li arrived, Kumang could undo the seal in time. Saint Lord, bon voyage. Kumang bowed to Lu Li with respect. This time, Lu Li did not bring Kumang with him. After all, Kumang would not be able to use Kumang's inhibition formations when he was going to crack the Divine Imperial City. Kumang might as well stay at home and study the 10 books. Okay. Lu Li waved his hand and went to the towering mountain. Kumang watched Lu Li leave and then sealed the entrance with inhibition formations. After a glare, Lu Li appeared in the prison of earth. He had activated the relic armor in case he was ambushed. Though Earth Immortal Realm Warriors and Semi-God Realm Warriors of the 9 universes could not enter the prison of Earth, it was better to be careful. As soon as he came out, he used psychic power to check. Near the entrance, he found some scouts and some dwarfs that could cloak. Luli snorted. The wicked bee glowed as Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heichi came out. Waving his hand, Luli said, "There are scouts nearby. Kill them all." Whoosh! Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heichi flew over. Master of Fairy Fox was as powerful as a semi-god realm warrior, and her soul was strong. Those invisible scouts could not escape from her detection. Whoosh! A warrior at the peak of the human sovereign realm came from the distance. He shouted from the distance, "Lord Lu, I am Chun Jin. My great-grandpa is Chun Tianxian." Luli waved his hand to tell Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heichi not to worry about this person and to go and kill those dwarfs. Chun Jin dropped to his knees in front of Luli and said, "Greetings, my lord." Luli nodded. Chun Jin was young, less than 20 years old. He could reach the Earth Immortal Realm at any time. Even in the Chun family, he could be regarded as a talented disciple. The fact that Chun Tianxian asked Chun Jin to contact Luli indicated that Chun Jin enjoyed a high status in the family. Luli waved his hand to ask Chun Jin to stand up. "How is your great-grandpa doing?" "Thank you, Lord. Great-grandpa is doing well." Chun Jin stood up and said with respect, "The Chun family has conquered the Central Imperial Universe. Great-grandpa said that everything is a gift from you. He asked me to come here to tell you about the situation in the 9 universes and to follow you and show you the way." Good. Luli was satisfied with Chun Jin's attitude. Chun Jin was young and came from a major family, but he was not arrogant. That was rare and commendable. What Luli did not know was how famous he was in the 9 universes. Even patriarchs of major families in the 9 universes would not dare to show off in front of Luli, let alone Chun Jin, a young master of the Chun family. Chapter 1134. Soon, all the scouts were killed, but Luli knew that when he went up, he would not be able to keep it a secret. The Yin family must have sent scouts along the way. "Let's go." When Master of Fairy Fox and the others came back, Luli put them all into the wicked bead and flew away. In the inner hall, Luli took out some tables and chairs and asked Chun Jin to explain the situation in the 9 universes. Chun Jin spoke leisurely, his attitude extremely respectful the entire time. He did not know that Chun Tianxian had become Lu Li's sole slave. But Chun Tianxian had told him many times that if he dared to be rude to Lu Li, he would be thrown into the prison of heaven for 100 years. Chun Jin's explanation gave Lu Li a better understanding of the situation in the 9 universes. All the entrances and exits were sealed. It was difficult to get in, especially in the divine Imperial Universe. The 3 entrances and exits were sealed off. It would take Chun Tianxian at least 10 years to open them up. Formations from the divinity were powerful. The Yin family had given up all the universes and small worlds they controlled. They were hiding in the divine Imperial Universe. To wipe out the Yin family, Luli must go to the divine Imperial Universe. Many warriors from different families had come back. Luli did not mind. With the immortal's body, no warrior at the peak of the semi-god realm would be of any use. He could kill one at a time. It will take 10 years to open the entrances. This was a headache for Luli. 10 years was a long time for him, and he could not rest during the 10 years. Besides, Chun Tianxian could not stop for 10 years. If he was harassed by the warriors of the Yin family during the attack, all his previous efforts would be in vain. Never mind. Let's go to the prison of gold first. Luli shook his head. He would go to the prison of gold and meet Chun Tianxian first. He said nothing and closed his eyes to rest. Chun Jin sat on the side. The wicked bead was much faster than the immortal's body. Previously, it would take 10 days. Now, it would only take 2 to 3 days to cross the prison of earth. When Luli dashed out and entered the prison of water, Chun Jin still did not know what had happened. Luli did not explain. He flew the wicked bead forward. At the entrance to the Paleobeast realm, he let out Master of Fairy Fox, Master of Heichi, and the other beasts. Master, from now on, the Fairy Foxes and the Heichi will follow your lead. If you need anything, please come to the Paleobeast realm and tell us. We will do our best. Master of Fairy Fox did not leave right away. She bowed to Lu Li with respect, and so did Master of Heichi. Thank you. Lu Li nodded. In the future, you can go to the Lu family for help if you run into any difficulties. Now go. Take care of the Paleobeast realm. Lu Li waved his hand and flew into the wicked bead. Master of Fairy Fox and Master of Heichi were still there. The two of them looked at each other and sighed. They had thought that they would lose their freedom for the rest of their lives after becoming Lu Li's sole slaves. Little did they expect that Lu Li would keep his word and set them free so easily. They felt like they were dreaming. A person like that is destined to soar to the heavens. I bet even in the immortal world, he'll rise quickly and look down on everyone. Master of Fairy Fox exclaimed. Then, she said, Master of Heichi, do not hate Lu Li. Instead, he wanted to befriend the Lu family. Maybe, because of Lu Li, the Paleobeast will soar. The Paleobeast realm only had one beast to be. Master of Heichi had to listen to Master of Fairy Fox. Also, he admired Lu Li. Master of Heichi nodded. Lu Li is indeed a talent of the human race. His future achievements will be beyond our imagination. Lu Li flew away in the wicked bead. In just over 3 days, he was standing on the land of the prison of gold. When Lu Li let Chun-Jin out from the wicked bead, Chun-Jin was stunned. In 5 or 6 days, Lu Li had arrived at the prison of gold from the prison of earth. The speed of the wicked bead was astonishing. Lu Li paid no attention to Chun-Jin's astonishment. He glanced over the prison of gold with mixed feelings. The first time he came here, he was held hostage by Lung Wuxin. He went to the entrance of the Central Imperial Universe on his own and almost died on several occasions. It was here that he met Yin Qingxi. Right, Yin Qingxi. The beautiful blind came to Lu Li's mind. Chun family had occupied the Central Imperial Universe. Didn't they have conflicts with the crippled Zen master? How was Yin Qingxi doing? Chun-Jin, Lu Li asked in a hurry. Chun family has occupied the Central Imperial Universe. The crippled Zen master didn't stop you? Have you seen Yin Qingxi? The crippled Zen master? Yin Qingxi? Chun-Jin was confused. Then he remembered something and shook his head. The crippled Zen master is gone, and so is that blind. They have been gone for many years, more than 10 years. The Zen mountain has been deserted for a long time. Lu Li was taken aback. The crippled Zen master and Yin Qingxi were gone? Where could the two of them disappear to? Were they killed? Did something happen to them? Who killed them? Lu Li said coldly. Yin Qingxi and the crippled Zen master had done him a great favor. He would not let go of anyone that killed them. They were not killed. Chun-Jin said with certainty, Lord, you should know that there is a formation at the Zen mountain. Many powerful warriors of the Mage Imperial Universe have tried for 3 years, but to no avail. Therefore, it is not easy to kill the crippled Zen master. The Qin family did not receive any information. Nobody attacked the Zen mountain. It was as if he vanished without a trace and never showed up again. What? Lu Li could not figure it out. How could 2 living people disappear all of a sudden? That being said, he had calmed down a bit. The formation of the Zen mountain was impressive, and the crippled Zen master was horrifying as well. Back then, the crippled Zen master could gather one hand and grab the wicked bead easily. Lu Li suspected that the crippled Zen master had become an immortal. Did they go to the divinity? Lu Li frowned. Could it be that the crippled Zen master was an immortal and he brought Yin Qingxi down to the mortal world for a tour? Did he return to the divinity more than a decade ago? However, Emperor of Heaven Reverse and Yin Tiangang could not go down to the mortal world. If the crippled Zen master could go down at will and bring Yin Qingxi to the divinity, how powerful would he be? He must be a super mighty warrior in the divinity at the very least. Lu Li had a feeling that the crippled Zen master and Yin Qingxi were hiding a great secret. Maybe they both had extraordinary backgrounds. There was one thing that Lu Li did not understand. If the crippled Zen master was so powerful, why did he stay at the Central Imperial Universe for 3,000 years? Never mind. Now that the crippled Zen master was gone, Lu Li could not dwell on it any longer. If they were destined to meet again, the truth would come out. Contact your great-grandpa, Lu Li said after some thoughts. I will go to the prison of ice first. Tell him to wait for me at the entrance of the prison of ice. I will talk to him when I come down from the prison of ice. Lu Li planned to meet Lu Renhuang first and then discuss with Chun Tianxian how to breach the divine imperial universe and wipe out the Yin family. P.S. Chapter 4. More to come. Chapter 1135. Lu Renhuang was in the prison of ice, but Lu Li did not know his exact location. The patriarch that came back last time went to the prison of ice again. It was said that the patriarch was trying to make a breakthrough in the prison of ice. The prison of ice was vast. Lu Renhuang would often wander around, looking for opportunities to make a breakthrough or some marks of nature's rhythms. Lu Li left Chun Jin behind and left in the wicked bead by himself. Since Chun Tianxian had sent Chun Jin to contact Lu Li, he must have something special about him. He should be able to return to the Central Imperial Universe. The wicked bead flew away in a blur. It was fast and fearless. Lu Li was afraid of nobody in the prison of gold, or even the entire purgatory of primordial chaos and the 9 universes. Lu Li didn't care even if some warriors had special means. He had no shortcomings in both offense and defense. The wicked bead was fast. He could go anywhere he wanted. Lu Li was worried about Lu Renhuang. Therefore, he did not control his speed and dashed around. In merely 2 hours, a warrior cultivating in seclusion was alerted. However, this warrior might have been in closed-door cultivation, so he did not realize what was going on. By the time he was alerted, the wicked bead had flown away from his territory. The warrior flew up, trying to chase after the wicked bead, only to realize that he could not catch up with it. What is that? Is it some powerful creature? The warrior's cloudy eyes were filled with astonishment. He had lived for more than 2,000 years, and this was the first time he had seen something so fast. Unfortunately, the wicked bead had flown away. He could not catch up with it even if he wanted to. Lu Li was using psychic power to check the outside from inside the wicked bead. Naturally, the warrior had noticed. But Lu Li did not mind and continued to fly the wicked bead. 09 small say net. He used psychic power to check because he wanted to try his luck to see if he could run into disciples of the Yin family. If he did, he would not be soft-hearted. He would kill as many as he saw. Whoosh, after flying for another hour, a silhouette shot out from a golden mountain on the left. It was obvious that it was an old monster who had been alarmed. Unfortunately, his reaction was too slow. It was impossible for him to stop the warrior. The wicked bead had flown away. Along the way, many warriors were alarmed. The prison of gold was a large place where many warriors were cultivating. Flying over their heads without the slightest scruple was a great provocation to them. Lu Li did not mind. He was doing this on purpose. He wanted to let the warriors of the 9 universes know that he was here at the prison of gold. He would find a way to conquer the other universes and wipe out their families. When the news that he had come to the prison of gold spread out, everyone would feel insecure. Naturally, no one dared to go to the Heaven Reverse universe. Of course, even if they went to the Heaven Reverse universe, apart from slaughtering some civilians, it would be pointless. Instead, it would enrage Lu Li. 6 hours later, Lu Li was finally stopped. It was not one warrior, but 4 warriors, all at the semi-god realm. Buzzing, the space in the sky suddenly fluctuated. Following that, huge cracks appeared. The cracks intertwined with each other, forming a huge net. It felt no different from the inescapable net of the teleportation array. The space. Li was of Li, Lu Li's. Was. Lu Li stopped the wicked bead. He was curious. This skill should be a profound meaning of space, a very powerful one at that. The net extended over quickly, covering up the space around the wicked bead. Now, the wicked bead had become a prison. Louis didn't dare to move when he saw the cracks in space. What if he got stuck in one and couldn't get out? Whoosh, an old monster appeared in each of the four directions, and all of them looked extremely old. The skin on their faces and hands were all wrinkled, and their eyebrows and hair were almost all gone. Their eyes were turbid, and the aura of old age was very strong. The four of them were obviously in the deity transformation realm, but it was impossible to tell exactly what realm they had reached. "What treasure is this?" an old monster asked in a hoarse and bewildered voice. The other old monster in yellow robes gave it a few glances, and his eyes lit up slightly. He said, "It should be a god artifact. Otherwise, it would be impossible for it to be so fast." The third old monster, let out a few strange laughs and said in a strange tone, "No matter what kind of treasure it is, let's take it first. Whoever grabs it first will get it." "Do it." The last old monster didn't waste any time and directly attacked. He generated a huge hand shadow and reached into the crack in space. The hand shadow pierced through the crack and grabbed the wicked bead. That being said, the hand shadow could not move the wicked bead even a little bit. Louis did not let the wicked bead move. Not even dozens of semi-god realm warriors could make the wicked bead tremble. "What?" the yellow-robed old man said in surprise. Then he teleported into the space cage and reached out his skinny hand to grab the wicked bead. Swish, swish. The yellow-robed old man grabbed the wicked bead. His hand was emitting yellow smoke. Louis sensed that the wicked bead was consuming a large amount of energy. This old man was quite strong. Louis snorted. The wicked bead glowed, and then the immortal's body came out. He punched at the yellow-robed old man. The wicked bead's appearance was too sudden. The yellow-robed old man might have a high opinion of himself because he did not run away at once. Seeing the immortal's body, the yellow-robed old man's cloudy eyes were filled with surprise. If you didn't provoke him, he wouldn't take the initiative to look for trouble. But if you did provoke him, it would be a fight to the death. As he continued flying, he alarmed quite a few old monsters along the way. However, this time, there was no one to intercept him, and he was able to fly away with ease. 8 to 10 hours later, Louis noticed that wherever the wicked bead flew past, not only did the old warriors stop him, they would run away as soon as they saw the wicked bead. That old warrior must have spread Louis's words. The old warriors in the prison of gold knew who he was, and they didn't dare to provoke him. Louis had been flying in the prison of gold for a long time, but he didn't run into too many young warriors. The families must have called back the young warriors that came out for training, fearing that they might run into Louis and be killed. But there were many scouts lurking on the way. Louis's psychic power was strong enough that he could detect some of them. He didn't kill those scouts because there were too many of them. It didn't matter to Louis. Louis didn't want to go looking for trouble. He had his mind set on going to the prison of ice. Nobody would disturb him, and he could enjoy peace and quiet. 3 days later, he arrived at the entrance to the prison of ice. What? Someone is not afraid of death. At the entrance to the prison of ice, Louis saw an old man with white eyebrows from a distance. He was blocking the entrance, clearly waiting for Louis. Louis stopped the wicked bead at the entrance to the prison of ice, only 2 miles away from the old man with white eyebrows. The old man's white eyebrows twitched. He opened his eyes. His eyes were not cloudy at all. Instead, they were as sharp as blades. He was emitting a strong energy. Louis used the wicked bead to check. This old man with white eyebrows should be at the peak of the semi-god realm. The old man said nothing, nor did he do anything. He just stared at the wicked bead. After a while, Louis asked, "What do you want by blocking my way?" The old man raised his eyebrows and said, "Young man, I heard that you killed Yinjin. You took 2 relics from the Yin family. Is your wicked bead a nice relic as well? Are you here to pick a fight?" Louis's heart was weighed down. He sounded unfriendly. "You are right. What? You want to take the 3 relics? Don't make it sound so harsh." The old man suddenly stood up. His whole body became sharp like an unsheathed sword. He said coldly, "Divine artifacts belong to the virtuous. Young man, you're still too young. Now that you're holding 3 divine artifacts, it's inevitable that a tall tree will attract the wind. An innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. Have you ever heard of this? Give me the 3 relics, and I will take you as my protege. I will make sure that you can dominate the 9 universes for the rest of your life. How about that? Well, I forgot to tell you. My nickname is Recluse of Eastern Cliff. Back in the 9 universes, I dominated the 9 universes alone. Even the Yin family had to show me respect. Luli did not want to hear what the old man had to say. He shook his head and sneered. Did this Recluse of Eastern Cliff really think he was somebody? How could this old man say that he would take Lu Li as his protege? Dominate the 9 universes? Why didn't he conquer the divine imperial city, kill Yin Jun, and take away the relic? Luli did not want to waste time with this old man. He released the immortal's body at once and said, "Old man, if you can survive the immortal's body's attack, then you will be worthy of my help. If you want the relics, talk is not going to work. Come and get them with your abilities." Swish, the immortal's body spread his wings and dashed away in a blur. He punched at Recluse of Eastern Cliff. The immortal's body was so fast that it was frightening. "Punk, since you refuse to come to your senses, then let's have a fight." Recluse of Eastern Cliff said coldly, but the immortal's body had already landed a punch on him. What surprised Luli was that Recluse of Eastern Cliff's body did not explode. Instead, he was disappearing as if he was being eroded. Shadow. Soon, Luli came back to his senses. Recluse of Eastern Cliff's body had reappeared behind the wicked bead. A black longbow appeared in his hand, and with a sudden pull, a dozen long arrows whistled through the air. Swish, the immortal's body turned around and flew toward Recluse of Eastern Cliff. However, when the immortal's body landed on Recluse of Eastern Cliff's body, the latter was eroded and vanished without a trace. You do have some skills. Chapter 1137. Recluse of Eastern Cliff's real body moved quietly. Luli could not tell with psychic power how he did it. This warrior said that he could defeat the 9 universes. Luli could not tell if it was true or not, but he did have some tricks up his sleeve. Buzzing, Luli released some feather wind. Feather wind filled the space with wind energy. When the Asmodean lord hid in the cracks in space, feather wind could detect him as well. Luli kept releasing feather wind. Soon, an area with a radius of 30 miles was filled with feather wind. Luli began to sense with psychic power. The results surprised him. The feather wind could not find out where this warrior was. Every time Recluse of Eastern Cliff shot out more than a dozen arrows, by the time the immortal's body flew over, Recluse of Eastern Cliff would disappear and reappear on the other side without any signs. This was not teleportation or traveling through cracks in space. Teleportation and space travel would cause ripples in space. Luli was surprised that there was no change in the space at the moment. Bang, bang, bang. More and more arrows were coming. Luli sensed that this warrior was quite strong. The wicked bead's energy would be drained fast if Recluse of Eastern Cliff kept attacking. Immortal's body, come back. Without a soul, the immortal's body was not flexible. It was pointless to chase after Recluse of Eastern Cliff. Luli put the immortal's body back into the wicked bead. Ha ha ha. Recluse of Eastern Cliff laughed and said with mockery, "Punk, now you know that there is always someone better than you out there. I'm not afraid to tell you that this is the profound meaning of shadow. No one in the world that can kill me has been born yet." Is that so? All of a sudden, Luli dashed out from the wicked bead. The relic armor appeared, and the relic weapon in his hand glowed in a dark light. Luli swung the weapon and hacked at Recluse of Eastern Cliff. As soon as the move was taken, the weather changed. Qianqi in heaven and earth was affected. Qianqi surged toward Recluse of Eastern Cliff and subdued him. How is this possible? Recluse of Eastern Cliff's eyes was filled with blood when he saw the blood-red ray of sword light whooshing over. From the depth of his soul, he sensed a fatal danger. He shouted in terror, "No!" Boom! The blood-red saber radiance shot out, and Eastern Cliff Patron was struck by it. His body exploded into a mist of blood, and he could not have been more dead. In the distance, some scouts from the various factions were hiding. When they witnessed this scene, their faces turned pale with fright. Householder Eastern Cliff was indeed very famous in the Nine Realms. Back then, he had caused chaos in the Nine Realms, not because he was ridiculously strong, but because he had comprehended the profound meaning of shadow, which made him the best at escaping in the Nine Realms. The old freak had lived for more than 1,000 years and had always been a headache for the families. Nobody expected that he would die in the hands of Lu Li today, and in one move no less. Lu Li knew about the scouts. He put away the wicked bead and walked toward the towering mountain, paying no attention to the scouts. It was good to let them spread the news so that they wouldn't be intercepted again. He walked toward the heaven-span mountain step by step and soon disappeared into the clouds. After a flash of white light, Lu Li's sight was filled with white light. The temperature around him dropped by a lot. Even with his power, Lu Li still felt cold. I see hell. The upper 5 levels of the purgatory of primordial chaos were rumored to be fraught with danger. Even a soul transformation realm expert could die if they were not careful. Lu Li was amazed by the temperature, not to mention how dangerous it was here. Not even average human sovereign realm warriors could stand it. Lu Li mobilized Xian energy to drive away the cold air. He looked around and enjoyed the view in the prison of ice. As far as he could see, there was snow and glaciers everywhere. Snowflakes were falling from the sky, and the cold wind was blowing. It was bleak. It was said that there were more warriors in the prison of ice and prison of wind than in the prison of gold. That was because young people from different realms in the prison of gold liked to train. Many warriors didn't like to be disturbed, so they came to the prison of ice and prison of wind to cultivate. There were many mountains in the prison of ice and some strange trees. There were even some flowers and grasses. Those must be some kind of miraculous elixirs. Lu Li didn't care about those elixirs. He went back into the wicked bead after a while. He could stand the cold outside, but he was not a masochist. He didn't need to study the profound meaning related to ice. Naturally, he felt comfortable in the wicked bead. He didn't know which way to go, so he chose a random direction. The wicked bead was not traveling at its top speed. He wanted to find someone and ask if they had seen Lu Renhuang. After flying for only 2 hours, he encountered an old monster who was cultivating in seclusion. Furthermore, that old monster was cultivating at the bottom of a frozen lake, and he had sensed a trace of his aura. Lu Li stopped the wicked bead, but the warrior didn't come out. The warrior only used his psychic power to check the wicked bead and then retracted it. Clearly, he didn't want to talk to Lu Li. Lu Li wanted to ask about Lu Renhuang. So, he said politely, "Sorry to interrupt, but I am looking for someone. I don't have time. Piss off," the old warrior said in a cold tone. Lu Li touched his nose in embarrassment. He was hesitating. He didn't want to stir up trouble. After a moment, he decided to leave and find someone else to ask. However, the old warrior said again, "Piss off. Do you have a death wish?" Lu Li was enraged. He dashed out and said coldly, "Come on, let me see how you're going to kill me." Swish, swish, the old warrior didn't refuse. Lu Li didn't see him do anything, but the wind and snow around him suddenly formed a dragon of snow in midair and smashed down at Lu Li. Bang! The dragon of snow smashed into Lu Li. The purple relic armor glowed. The dragon of snow exploded. Snow and ice splashed around. Lu Li didn't even tremble. All the strength was absorbed by the relic armor. Really? The old warrior was surprised. He said with mockery, "So, you have a relic armor. No wonder you are so arrogant. Who are you to the Yin family? You have reached the semi-god realm at such a young age. I didn't know that the Yin family had such a talent. It is understandable that Yin Zhen gave you the relic armor." Clearly, the old warrior didn't know what was going on outside. He thought Lu Li was a talent of the Yin family, and the relic armor was given to him by Yin Zhen. "I'm not from the Yin family," Lu Li said coldly. "As for the relic armor, I killed Yin Zhen and got it. I just want to ask you something. You are the arrogant one. aren't you? Really? The old man was even more shocked. He broke out from the ice at the bottom of the lake. Looking at Lu Li in confusion, he asked, "You killed Yin Jin? Are you kidding me? You're only at the initial stage of the semi-god realm. How can you kill Yin Jin?" Buzzing, the black relic weapon appeared in Lu Li's hand. He sneered. "Even if I am from the Yin family, Yin Jun will not give me the relic weapon. Everyone in the 9 universes knows that I killed Yin Jun. You can go and ask around." What? Finally, the old warrior was moved. He sized Lu Li up and said with respect, "I have not paid attention to the outside world for millions of years. I didn't know that there are talents like you in the 9 universes. I take back what I said. I have cultivated for so long that my temper has become strange. I hope you can forgive me." Lu Li was a man who could be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. Since the old warrior was being polite, Lu Li put away the relic weapon, cupped his fists, and said, "No discord, no concord. You are a senior. I am sorry to have disturbed your cultivation." "What?" The old warrior looked at Lu Li and said with surprise, "My friend, I think you look like someone. That person is young as well. We got to know each other after a fight. Both of you are extremely talented. Could it be that you are brothers? Alike?" Chapter 1138. Yes. The old man's wrinkled face trembled. He nodded and said, "His name is Lu Ren Wang. Is he really your brother?" "No, that is my father." Lu Li touched his nose in embarrassment and said, "Sir, do you know where my father is now? That is what I wanted to ask you." "Ha ha ha." The old man laughed. Stroking his beard, the old man said, "I didn't know that you were the son of an old friend. TSK, you and your father are freaks. I noticed your father the first time he came to the prison of ice. He was only at the peak of the earth immortal realm back then. But soon, he reached the semi-god realm. The last time I saw him, he was at the peak of the semi-god realm, more powerful than me. Back then, I exclaimed that the younger generation will surpass us in time. I don't know what to say to you now." Over the past few years, Lu Ren Huang's abilities had been improving, which had amazed the old man. He didn't know that Lu Ren Huang's son was even stronger. He could even kill Yin Jun. It made the old man feel like he was in a mess. Had the world changed, or were they too useless? "Sir, you flatter me," Lu Li said modestly. Then he asked, "Sir, what is your name? Do you know where my father is?" The old man said with shame, "I will not tell you my real name. It is shameful. Now, my name is Heaven-Seeking Taoist. I don't know where your father is. He often roams the ice purgatory alone, constantly challenging the experts who are cultivating in the ice purgatory. In the beginning, he was always suppressed, but his defense is very strong and his speed is very fast, allowing him to successfully escape every time. Now, there are probably very few people in the ice purgatory who are his match." Well, Lu Li was surprised. He didn't know that Lu Ren Huang was so tough. He had been challenging powerful warriors in the prison of ice. Those that could cultivate in the prison of ice must be at least at the semi-god realm. It was a miracle that Lu Ren Huang could survive. But Lu Ren Huang must have stimulated his potential in battles of life and death to improve so fast. When a person often experienced life and death battles, their potential would be stimulated, and they would suddenly have an epiphany. It was understandable that their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. "Thank you, sir." Lu Li clasped his fists and asked, "Sir, are you related to families in the 9 universes?" Lu Li was going to wipe out many families this time. Since the old man was old friends with Lu Ren Wang, Lu Li had to respect the old man. The old man shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. My clan was destroyed long ago. This old man is alone now. If I can't break through the last step, I'm prepared to die of old age in this ice prison." Lu Li was relieved. He cupped his fists and bid farewell to the old man. Then he flew away in the wicked bead. The old man stood alone on the frozen lake for a long time, his eyes filled with confusion. Lu Li was so capable at such a young age. The old man began to doubt himself. Was it meaningful for him to cultivate like this? Lu Li flew on at the top of his speed. Since Lu Renhuang was challenging people everywhere, then his whereabouts must not be fixed. In that case, it would be pointless to ask someone. He might as well use the wicked bead to search around. He release some of your subsidiary bodies and help them search. Luli gave some orders to He, and she began to release subsidiary bodies. After tens of thousands of them were released, Luli sent them away. He controlled the subsidiary bodies to fly to different directions. In just over 2 hours, Luli ran into another 2 warriors. They seemed to be a couple. When Luli flew over a huge snow mountain, the ice on the cliff suddenly cracked. Then an old man and an old woman came out. What? Old man, isn't this a relic? The old woman was at the semi-god realm, but only at the initial stage. There were no wrinkles or age spots on her face. Instead, her cheeks were rosy. She must have been a beauty in her younger days. The old man's back was straight. He wore a white robe, which gave him an elegant and refined look. He must have been a handsome man in his younger days. His eyes glowed after a glance. He said, "Is this the legendary wicked bead? Is it Luli?" Luli stopped the wicked bead. He could not just fly away now that his name was called. He said, "I am Luli. And you are?" The old woman with white hair and a youthful face said in surprise, "Old man, is this the one you told me killed Yinjin? Come out and meet us. Allow us to greet you." "Luli, don't be nervous," the white-robed old man said with a warm smile. "We are friends, not enemies. I am Feng Aoshue, and this is my wife, Mei Ting. We are sworn enemies with the Yin family. You have avenged us by killing Yin Zhan." Luli could sense their sincerity. He was not afraid that they would secretly attack him. He dashed out of the wicked bead. The purple armor appeared. Luli said with a smile, "You are too kind. I killed Yin Zhan. There's an irreconcilable hatred between the Yin family and me. Either he dies or I die." Ha ha ha. The old man was sure that Yin Zhan was dead when he saw the purple armor. He laughed heartily. Then he bowed to Lu Li with the old woman and said sincerely, "Lu, please accept our bow. You have done us a great favor by killing Yin Zhan. In the future, if there is anything you need us to do, please come here and let us know." Luli could not stop them. He had to accept it. He thought about it and said, "Later, I will think of a way to breach the divine imperial city and wipe out the Yin family. If you want revenge, let's do it together." Feng Aoshue and his wife looked at each other in astonishment. The old woman said with pleasant surprise, "My friend, are you sure you can breach the divine imperial city? That is a relic. Not even immortals can do it." Feng Aoshue nodded and said yes. Back in the days, several immortals tried to breach the divine imperial city, but failed. "Are you sure you can do it?" "I am not sure." Luli shook his head. "But where there is a will, there is a way. How can I know if I don't try? I won't lose anything by trying, right?" "Okay." Feng Aoshue thought about it and shouted, "Okay. My friend, you are so ambitious. How can we not follow you? As soon as you do it, we will go right away. The Yin family wiped out my wife's family. If you can wipe out the Yin family, we will follow you for the rest of our lives." Yes, the old woman nodded in excitement. "As long as you can wipe out the Yin family and avenge our family, our lives will be yours." "Please don't say that." Luli did not mind. He had slaves at the peak of the semi-god realm. Given his current abilities, a group of warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm would be pointless. That being said, it was a good thing to have 2 more semi-god realm warriors to attack the Yin family. Luli made an agreement with the 2 and asked about Lu Renhuang. Their answers were the same as the old man's. Back in the days, Lu Renhuang challenged the 2. At first, he failed and fled. The second time he came, he defeated the 2 on his own. But the 2 did not know where Lu Renhuang was. He had been exploring in the prison of ice. He had been challenging enemies and never stopped. Chapter 1139. Bidding farewell to the 2, Luli continued his search for Lu Renhuang. Luli was getting agitated because of the constant encounters. He flew the wicked bead at full speed. If it were not for the fact that someone was deliberately intercepting him, Luli would have taken a detour. As he had expected, He alarmed many warriors along the way. There were many more in the prison of ice. 10 hours later, Luli ran into 4 warriors, but he managed to go around all of them. The wicked bead was so fast that average warriors could not catch up with it. What? Another 2 hours later, Luli suddenly sensed that there were many warriors in front of him. He also saw people fighting in midair from the distance. He slowed down the wicked bead and lowered his altitude. He flew over quietly, wanted to see if Lu Renhuang was there. In front of him was a valley, but the temperature here seemed to be very low because there was no snow. The mountains were all icebergs and the snow was frozen. It was not hard to imagine how low the temperature was. Some of the shock waves from the attacks landed on the icebergs, but didn't cause the icebergs to collapse. Only a piece of ice was shaved off. It seemed that the inside of the icebergs was frozen. 3 warriors were fighting on the icebergs, and 2 were attacking one. Luli was amused to check with psychic power. He knew the 2 warriors who were fighting. One was in a red robe, and the other was in a green robe. They were quite coquettish. Who else could they be other than the deranged Taoist pair? When Luli was on his way back from the Central Imperial Universe, he was chased by the deranged Taoist pair and Mo Huanglin when he passed by the Prison of Gold. Later, he said that he was the apprentice of the Blood Emperor and threw out the token of the Blood Emperor to scare off the 3. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he could enter the Prison of Water. Back then, he had heard about the deranged Taoist pair. It was said that the 2 were brothers and both were perverted perverts who enjoyed torturing and killing young girls. Because they tortured and killed young ladies of the 4 major families of the Mage Imperial Universe, they were hunted down by the other 2 families. The 2 were the most vicious warriors in the Prison of Gold. Back then, Luli thought that if he was powerful enough, he would go out and kill the deranged Taoist pair right away. He didn't expect to run into them here. A glint of killing intent rose in Luli's eyes. He didn't take action right away. He used psychic power to check. He noticed that there were many people watching the battle. There were at least 8 or 9 old monsters hiding in plain sight. While Luli was checking on those warriors, many used psychic power to check as well. But it seemed that they had never seen the wicked bead before. Many stopped using psychic power after a quick glance. The deranged Taoist pair recognized the wicked bead. However, they were busy fighting an old man up there, so they did not notice what was going on down there. Luli observed quietly. Both the deranged Taoist pair were at the peak of the semi-god realm, and so was the one they were attacking. Both sides seemed to be evenly matched, and it was difficult to determine the victor. However, the deranged Taoist pair's methods were very ruthless. The brown-haired elder was suppressed and at a disadvantage. The deranged Taoist pair had a very evil bloodline, divine skill. The 2 of them could release some blood-colored skeleton hands. The skeleton hands flickered with a dark blue light, and it looked like they were extremely poisonous. It wasn't just one skeletal hand, but a sky full of skeletal hands, attacking the brown-haired old man from all directions. The brown-haired old man didn't dare to touch it, so he kept dodging and counterattacking from time to time, so he was at a disadvantage. Why don't we persuade old Freak Tang to give up? At this rate, sooner or later, he would die in the hands of the deranged Taoist pair. It's just a grandniece who was harmed by the 2. She is not his biological granddaughter. You make it sound so easy. She is not your grandniece. Tang does not have many disciples to begin with. This grandniece of his is talented and beautiful. She was going to marry a young master of the Jun family. Now, she has been harmed by the 2. It is no wonder that Tang is angry. What can he do even if he is angry? The deranged Taoist pair have been working together for hundreds of years. They can coordinate with each other, and their means are vicious. One mistake, and you will be killed by them. Tang's body movement is good. I think it is the catkin in the wind profound meaning. Has he integrated another profound meaning? Luli could clearly hear the sounds of discussion coming from the other side. Clearly, those people were bored out of their minds. They were attracted by the fight and came over to watch. None of them wanted to help. Maybe they were afraid of the reputation of the deranged Taoist pair, or maybe they were not that close to Tang. Tang, will be grateful to anyone who can help me kill the deranged Taoist pair. Hermit, 5 sovereigns, How about you lend me a hand? Old Freak Tang suddenly shouted. The insane Taoist pair's viper-like, cold eyes swept over them. The green-robed old Taoist said in a cold voice, "Gentlemen, it's better if you don't stir up trouble. You should know the temperaments of us brothers. If you offend us, we will not let go of any of the girls in your family." The green-robed Taoist's words sent chills down people's spines. They did not care about family affairs, but they would be so ashamed that they would bang their heads against the wall and die if the girls and their families were raped because of them. The deranged Taoist pair once did something like this. An old warrior offended them. That warrior was so fast that the two could not catch up with him. In the end, the warrior went to the deranged Taoist pair's family and raped over 100 girls. If the warriors were confident that they could kill the deranged Taoist pair, they would not hesitate. What was more important was that the deranged Taoist pair were fast, and they had a unique way of escaping. If they could not kill the deranged Taoist pair and brought endless troubles to their families, then the loss would outweigh the gain. "Guys!" Old Freak Tang shouted angrily again. "Whoever can help me kill these two old freaks, I'll give him all my treasures and secret skills." The old monsters below were somewhat tempted, but what the red-robed old monster said next made them all shut up. The red-robed man stared at them like a viper and said, "Treasures are good, but you must be alive to take them. Also, what if you can kill us? Aren't you afraid that the deaf Taoist will hunt you down?" The deaf Taoist? The three words seemed to have some kind of magic. Nobody dared to show any killing intent anymore. They stayed on the ground and enjoyed the show. Two of them looked at old Freak Tang apologetically. It was obvious that they wouldn't help him. Ha! Right at that moment, they heard a burst of laughter. Then the voice continued, "Tang, how about I help you kill the deranged Taoist pair? I don't want your treasures. You just have to do one thing for me." Swish, swish, swish. Many turned to the wicked bead because it was Lu Li who spoke. Lu Li could not sit still any longer. He was ready to take action. The deranged Taoist pair were vicious and evil. Everyone wanted to kill them, not to mention that the two hunted him down years ago. The wicked bead did not have any power. It floated at the foot of the mountain like a stone. Nobody thought it was a powerful artifact. From inside the bead came a young voice. How could he be so arrogant? Everyone was mocking him, asking to kill the deranged Taoist pair. They wondered which family this foppish young man was from. One arrogant young man. Tang did not take it seriously. He answered casually, "Don't say one thing. If you can help me get revenge, I can be your slave for the rest of my life." This bead? The deranged Taoist pair found the wicked bead familiar. The red-robed man suddenly yelled, "Isn't this the bead that the Blood Emperor's apprentice rode on? Punk, you are the apprentice of the Blood Emperor?" Buzzing. Chapter 1140. Apprentice of the Blood Emperor. Apprentice of Emperor Hung. Lu Li? Many were confused. They had heard of the Blood Emperor. Almost all the warriors cultivating in the purgatory of primordial chaos had heard of the Blood Emperor. He was one of the most powerful warriors. He was cruel and merciless. Many warriors had died in his hands. Apprentice of Emperor Hung? Which Emperor Hung? If it was the Emperor Hung that came back from the divinity, then something was not right. Emperor Hung had been dead for hundreds of thousands of years. Lu Li? The name was unfamiliar, but the two old monsters had vaguely heard it before, but they couldn't recall it for a moment. They did not pay much attention to the 9 universes. It was understandable that they had not heard of it. Lu Li? The Lu Li that killed Yinjin? One of the warriors suddenly remembered something and shouted. The other warriors looked at Lu Li's armor and the relic weapon in his hand. They were all taken aback. Relic? Nothing was more convincing than the relic armor and the relic weapon Lu Li was holding. They had heard to some extent that Yin Jun was killed. Some thought it was just a rumor. After all, how could Yin Jun be killed when he had a relic weapon and a relic weapon? The fact that Lu Li was wearing a relic armor and a relic weapon proved everything. Yin Jun was killed by this young man, by Lu Li what? The deranged Taoist pair's eyes grew colder. They stopped involuntarily. They were solemn. Of course, the deranged Taoist pair were surprised as well. Luli was so young, and he seemed to be only at the initial stage of the semi-god realm. How could he have killed Yinjun? Buzzing, the wicked bead glowed as the immortal's body came out. Luli didn't even bother to kill them. He pointed to the deranged Taoist pair and said, "Kill them." What? The warriors were shocked. The violent energy coming from the immortal's body was too strong. The immortal's body looked strange. A headless body with wings and a golden body. It was quite intimidating. Swish, the god corpse flapped its wings and turned into a streak of light as it shot forward. Its speed frightened the group of old monsters. The red-robed warrior of the deranged Taoist pair yelled at once, "Brother, run!" Swish! The golden mark on the red-robed old man's neck lit up, and skeletal hands swarmed out, grabbing toward the god's corpse. At the same time, the red-robed old freak formed a seal with both of his hands and shot out a series of small earthy yellow seals toward the god's corpse. Although the small seals were small and did not seem to possess much power, they were the advanced profoundness of the earth element. A single small seal was comparable to a mountain range and possessed terrifying power. Bang, 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 bang. The skeletal hands grabbed onto the god corpses, but they exploded one by one, not causing any damage to the god corpses at all. Even the skeleton's hands were poisonous. Unfortunately, the god corpse's physical body was extremely strong, and this little bit of poison could not enter his body. Bang, bang, bang. The small seal flew over and violently smashed into the sacred corpse. Every time the sacred corpse was hit, its body would tremble slightly, and its speed would be slightly affected. Amazing! The group of old monsters sighed with emotion. The small seal contained a violent power, but it couldn't even push back the god's corpse. Just how terrifying was the immortal corpse's defense? Without a soul, the immortal corpse is still too weak. Luli, on the other hand, was not satisfied. The immortal corpse did not know how to be flexible. If the sacred corpse were alive, he would have been able to dodge the attacks easily given his speed. By then, he would have killed one person. Thank you. At first, Tang did not think much of Luli. However, when the immortal corpse showed up, he was overjoyed. He began to fight back at the deranged Taoist pair. He had learned a powerful, profound meaning of water. He waved his hand. Wind and rain whooshed over. The wind and rain formed dragons of water that entangled the deranged Taoist pair, preventing them from running away. Brother Two, hang in there. I will go and kill this kid. The red-robed old man was enraged that he could not leave at the moment. He glared at Luli gloomily. He wanted to kill Luli so that no one could control the immortal corpse. He still could not believe it. How could Luli kill Yinjun? The relic armor Luli was wearing was fake, right? After all, how could a young man at the initial stage of the semi-god realm kill the leader of the 9 universes? Swish, the red-robed old man's legs trembled. Suddenly, he let out a shrill noise. The next second, he appeared in front of Luli and reached his hand toward Luli's chest. The red-robed old man's hand used to be skinny and bony. However, at this moment, the red-robed old man's hand turned into a skeleton with a dark glare. The red-robed old man's hand was like a sharp saber, reaching toward Luli's chest. Luli grinned. He did not step back or dodge. He was not fast enough, and it was difficult for him to dodge. He just let the hand scratch on his relic armor. Many people stared at Luli's armor. If it were not a relic armor, then even a quasi-relic could be crushed. The deranged Taoist pair were vicious. The skeleton claw was the move that made them famous. Buzzing, the purple relic armor glowed in a purple light. The claw was bounced off. The fierce claw did not inflict any damage to the relic armor. Not even a mark was left. You are done. Now it is my turn. Luli grinned. To the red-robed old man, Luli's smiling eyes were no different from that of a demon. The red-robed old man sensed fatal danger. He stepped back in terror. You want to run? It is too late. Luli swung his saber and made a gentle move. When he used the Slayer's move, the killing intent surged out uncontrollably. His eyes glowed in red. He had turned from a harmless young man into a killer. Swish! As soon as the move was used, the wind and clouds were stirred up. Qian-chi in heaven and earth were suppressed. The red-robed old man could not move one bit. The blood-red ray of sword light flew out. The red-robed old man saw a world of blood. Then he felt a sharp pain. The last thing he could think of was that a surge of horrifying energy exploded in his body, and he was blasted into a mist of blood. Boom! Blood mist filled the sky, and a rain of blood floated in midair, sprinkling on the faces of several old monsters. It was dead silent. Even the sound of a pin drop could be heard. "Boss!" A furious shout came out. The green-robed old man's miserable cry alarmed the warriors who were watching. They looked at each other, only to see fear in each other's eyes. The deranged Taoist pair had been dominating the purgatory of primordial chaos for 700 to 800 years. Nobody could kill them. Many who offended them were killed by them. Of course, the deranged Taoist pair never took the initiative to provoke the powerful warriors in the purgatory of primordial chaos. They were sensible and had a powerful backer. That was why they could enjoy their freedom until today. However, one of the deranged Taoist pair died here today. It seemed that the other one would not survive either. More importantly, the deranged Taoist pair died in the hands of a young man in one move. The warriors felt it was surreal, as if they were in a dream. "Luli, you are doomed." The green-robed old man crushed a jade talisman in his hand. His face twisted. He shouted, "How dare you kill my boss? I will wipe out your entire family. I have informed the Deaf Taoist. Your entire family will be killed." The Deaf Taoist? Chapter 1141. Inform the Deaf Taoist? Luli did not show much of a reaction, but the others were taken aback. Tang, in particular, pulled a long face. Powerful warriors could live a long life. Usually, after reaching the noble lord realm, it was normal for a warrior to live for 1,000 or 2,000 years. 1,000 or 2,000 years was enough for many things to happen. For example, a family could be wiped out, and the one who did it was so powerful that the family could not fight back. The family could only swallow the pain and go to the purgatory of primordial chaos to cultivate, hoping that one day they could seek revenge. Some warriors, like the deranged Taoist pair, fled to the purgatory of primordial chaos because they had offended super powerful warriors in their own universes. There were more warriors who had lived a long life and enjoyed all the glory and splendor. They had seen through the mundane world and decided to calm down to take the last step. Therefore, there were many warriors in the purgatory of primordial chaos. Conflicts were inevitable. Maybe some warriors wanted to make breakthroughs in battles. Because of the frequent battles, the warriors had a good understanding of each other's abilities. They were afraid of the few most powerful warriors in the purgatory of primordial chaos. The Deaf Taoist was one of them. Someone created a ranking for the warriors in the purgatory of primordial chaos. Only the 10 most powerful warriors were named Purgatory's top 10. Although some people didn't agree with this list, there was no doubt that these 10 people were very powerful. The Deaf Taoist ranked number 4 among the Purgatory's top 10, which was proof that the Deaf Taoist was powerful. Lu Li's so-called master, the Blood Emperor, was on the list as well. He was ranked number 3, ahead of the Deaf Taoist. That was why the deranged Taoist pair were scared off by the Blood Emperor. The deranged Taoist pair and the Deaf Taoist were not on good terms. But the Deaf Taoist made it clear that he owed the deranged Taoist pair a favor. Though no one knew what the deranged Taoist pair had done, the Deaf Taoist would lend them a hand when necessary. Now that the deranged Taoist pair had made use of this favor, many people were taken aback. Some even wanted to leave right away in case the Deaf Taoist would kill them by mistake. Tang was the most stressed out. Swish, the immortal's body did not care. He dashed toward the green-robed warrior in a blur. However, the green-robed warrior was fast. He kept releasing skeleton hands and seals to stop the immortal's body from getting closer. Kill. Tang made up his mind. After all, Luli had killed one of them. Tang did not mind too much. He would deal with the other one first. "Ha!" Old Freak Tang shouted, and heavy rain poured down from the sky. The curtain of rain was like smoke, and water dragons condensed in the air. They rushed over from all directions, surrounding the green-robed Old Freak. Old Freak Tang's water profundity was the most annoying. It could slow down the enemy's speed, making him like a clingy fly. The green-robed warrior was entangled, and the immortal's body was approaching. The green-robed warrior bellowed, "Tang, leave now. When the deaf Taoist is here, I will let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, you will die as well." The green-robed warrior tried to sow discord. He hated Lu Li the most at the moment. It did not matter if Tang was killed or not. His priority was to stay alive. Old Freak Tang had lived for so many years. If he was so easily alienated, then he would have lived his life like a dog. His face didn't change as he continued to release his Upanishad attacks. With Tang's help, the resistance the immortal's body faced was reduced. Finally, the immortal's body was close to the green-robed warrior. He punched at the green-robed warrior. The noise caused by the high speed was ear-piercing. Buzzing, the green-robed warrior took out a flag. He waved it, and the flag swirled up, surrounding the immortal's body and Tang. Without hesitation, the immortal's body punched. The green flag was torn apart. However, at that moment, the green-robed warrior's body glowed in a blood-red light. He retreated for several miles. Lu Li watched leisurely. He did not intend to take any action. He wanted to see what these warriors were capable of and learn a thing or two from them. The immortal's body was fast. The green-robed warrior would not be able to run away, even if he had some tricks up his sleeve. The immortal's body chased after the green-robed warrior. Tang released dragons of water to stop the green-robed warrior from running away. The green-robed warrior released more skeleton hands and seals to stop the immortal's body from approaching. Clearly, the green-robed warrior was stalling for time, waiting for the deaf Taoist to come. Some of the onlookers secretly moved to the sides to watch from a distance. They did not want to be implicated. Some of the bolder ones stayed to watch. They looked at Lu Li with curiosity and confusion. Clearly, the second brother of the deranged Taoist pair was stalling for time, waiting for the deaf Taoist to come. Why was Lu Li not moving? Was he not afraid of the deaf Taoist at all? That being said, given what Lu Li had just done and the fact that he was wearing relic armor and weapon and had the immortal's body, they could understand. If Lu Li could kill Yin Zhen, why would he be afraid of the deaf Taoist? Yin Zhen was known as the most powerful warrior in the 9 universes. Bang! In the air, the immortal's body smashed a quasi-relic shield that the green-robed warrior threw out. Taking the chance, the green-robed warrior released some skeleton hands and then used skills to retreat. He has a lot of treasures. Lu Li followed up slowly. Still, he showed no signs of taking actions. He wanted to see how many treasures the green-robed warrior had to destroy the immortal's body. The green-robed warrior was getting impatient. He would look into the distance every now and then. He was not sure that the deaf Taoist was in the prison of ice. If the deaf Taoist was not, it would be too late for Lu Li to come and save him. Time moved on. After the time for one incense stick to burn, the immortal's body had closed the distance again. This time, the green-robed warrior had no other moves. He reached out a skeleton hand to grab the immortal's body. At the same time, he shouted, "Lu Li, just you wait. The deaf Taoist will kill your entire family." Bang! The immortal's body smashed at the green-robed warrior's arm. Then, his body exploded into a mist of blood. He was dead. Stop! At the same time, a hoarse voice came from the sky. The old monsters who were watching from below immediately flew away in all directions, their faces filled with fear. Buzzing, the air trembled. Then, a black halo appeared. An old Taoist wearing a gray robe and holding a horsetail whisk walked out from the halo. The deaf Taoist. Tang took a look at the deaf Taoist's ears. Both of the ears were cut off. Tang was no longer surprised. He was sure of the identity of this person. Tang flew behind Lu Li and whispered, "Lu, this is the deaf Taoist, the number 4 of the Purgatory's top 10. He is good. You be careful." Lu Li nodded, still wearing a smile. He looked at the deaf Taoist, but said nothing. Luli did not know about the entanglement between the deaf Taoist and the deranged Taoist pair. However, since the three were related and the deaf Taoist was protecting the two, Luli believed that the deaf Taoist and the deranged Taoist were birds of the same feather. The deaf Taoist came out from the black halo. He threw a glance to the immortal's body and then to the green-robed warrior who had exploded into a mist of blood. In the end, he turned to Luli and said, "I know that those two are not good people, but I owe them a favor. Therefore, I cannot stand by and do nothing when they're killed. Young man, I'm going to kill you. Do you have any last words? Don't worry. I have my principles. I will not implicate your family." Ha ha ha. Chapter 1142. The deaf Taoist did not respond to Lu Li's words, as if he really was deaf. Not only was the deaf Taoist not angry, but he also said nothing. After a moment, seeing that Lu Li was not leaving, the deaf Taoist took out a pipa. The deaf Taoist plucked on the pipa and said, "Since you have nothing to say, then I will send you on your way." Devil's pipa. Tang was taken aback. He yelled, "My friend, run." Once the deaf Taoist uses the devil's pipa, no one but a powerful soul warrior can stand it. Tang flew away quickly. Seeing that Lu Li was still there, Tang stomped on the ground and came back. Lu Li waved his hand, not worried. He just told Tang to stay away. The warriors lurking nearby were taken aback. They stepped back quickly. They had never experienced the power of the devil's pipa, but they had heard about it many times. The deaf Taoist did not seem to want to implicate others. After the warriors left, he plucked on the devil's pipa. Ding! A sound that was not too loud came out. The space in front of the pipa began to ripple. It was as if a stone was thrown into a peaceful lake. Lu Li squinted. He checked himself. He felt a feeble surge of soul energy coming from the ripples and entering his soul, ready to invade his soul pond at any time. Soul attack him. The last thing Lu Li was afraid of was soul attack. Back in the days, Emperor Z wanted to take over his soul pond, control his soul, and possess his body. In the end, he was defeated by the Silver Dragon Mark. Emperor Z said that the Silver Dragon Mark was an enchanted soul above the 7th rank. Lu Li did not know what an enchanted soul was, but Emperor Z said it was a treasure that could be owned by a super family in the divinity. If so, how could regular soul attack hurt him? Ding dong, the people went on. The tone was gentle and pleasant. It seemed to have a hypnotic effect that could make people fall asleep. After Lu Li listened to it for a while, he felt so comfortable that he actually closed his eyes. The silver dragon mark in his soul glowed, which startled him. He realized that the energy in his soul was invading his soul quietly. Impressive. Lu Li's eyes were still closed, but he was exclaiming to himself. The deaf Taoist soul attack was cunning and soundless. Unknowingly, the enemy would fall for it. If Lu Li had really fallen asleep, he wouldn't even know how he died. The fourth of the Purgatory 10 Elders was indeed extraordinary. Lu Li nodded to himself. The deaf Taoist deserved his reputation for his soul attacks. Lu Li kept his eyes closed and let the deaf Taoist attack him. Lu Li wanted to see how strong the Silver Dragon was. Ding, 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 dong, dong. All of a sudden, the sound of the pipa became hurried and violent. Lu Li felt the soul attack in his mind became faster. Countless streams of soul power swarmed into his soul space and swarmed toward his soul pond. In the distance, Tang and the others were checking with psychic power. When they saw Lu Li standing still in midair, their hearts were in their throats. Would Lu Li fall for it so easily? If Lu Li was killed by the deaf Taoist, then the 2 relics, no, the 3 relics would fall into the deaf Taoist's hands. Once the deaf Taoist had the 3 relics, his abilities would be beyond imagination. The entire purgatory of primordial chaos and the 9 universes would be changed. Therefore, even though the several onlookers knew it was dangerous to stay here and they could be killed if they angered the deaf Taoist, they could not help but continue to check. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of the pipa was getting faster and faster. Even the warriors several miles away could not stand it any longer. But Luli was still standing in midair peacefully. The deaf Taoist was surprised. He threw Luli a few glances. Then, while playing the pipa, he moved closer to Luli, trying to kill him when he was close enough. Tang's mind was filled with the sound of the pipa. However, he could tell that the deaf Taoist was about to kill Luli. Tang could not help but shout, "Lu, watch out, boom." With that said, he felt as if he had been struck by a bolt from the blue. His soul was wounded. He rolled around on the ground in pain, screaming in pain. Luli saw everything. He nodded to himself. This Tang was a nice guy. Luli's help to kill the deranged Taoist pair was not in vain. Whoosh, the deaf Taoist sped up. In an instant, he was right in front of Luli. He swung the pipa and smashed at Luli's head. Luli grinned. He used the relic weapon in his hand. The pipa was a piece of treasure, but Luli was holding a relic weapon in his hand. Bang! With a muffled sound, sparks came out from the pipa. Luli was smashed down by the strong force and fell into the mountains below. His legs landed on a boulder on the mountain peak. Due to the force of the fall, the boulder began to crack. Luli put on a smile. Deaf Taoist, your soul attack is not good enough. Do you have other means? If not, you can't kill me. Luli had fought against many powerful warriors. Previously, he relied on the wicked bead and the immortal's body. Later on, he relied on the Slayer's move. Therefore, he knew very little about the skills of powerful warriors. This time, Luli planned to let the deaf Taoist demonstrate his skills so that Luli could broaden his horizons. If you want to die, I will grant your wish. The deaf Taoist said. He was not really deaf. It was just that he did not like to talk to people. That was why he had a strange personality. He suddenly plucked the string of the pipa with one hand, and this time the string actually broke. He casually threw the string down, and the string actually expanded with the wind, turning into a giant python in midair. Hiss, hiss, the deaf Taoist broke the strings one by one and threw them all down. The strings whooshed down like pythons. The deaf Taoist's pipa without strings glowed. It turned into a phantom of a beast that dashed toward Luli. Boom, boom, boom. The pythons and the phantom of the beast exploded. Luli was smashed away, but he was fine. The relic armor was strong. Roar, roar, the deaf Taoist cried into the sky. His robe was torn into pieces. Then his body expanded, and he grew to more than 100 feet. His body was covered with muscles. His face became a ferocious beast. There was a tail behind his butt, and his chest was covered with black hair. Well, he has turned into a beast? Luli was dumbfounded. He was not frightened, but he was stunned by such a strange change. How did a perfectly fine person turn into a half-beast man? Did the deaf Taoist learn some skills? Or was he a special race to begin with? The difference between before and after was just too great. Roar, roar. Chapter 1143. Himself. Luli was more confident now. The deaf Taoist must be of a special race or a beast. But he had hidden it well, which was why the outside world did not know about him. The 9 universes belonged to humans. Once, over half of the beasts in other special races were slaughtered by humans and driven to the Paleobeast realm. Back in the days, the beasts and humans held a deep grudge. If the deaf Taoist's identity was exposed, he would not be able to survive in the purgatory of primordial chaos. Luli did not discriminate against beasts and paleobeasts. That being said, the deaf Taoist wanted to kill him. Why would he show mercy? Luli ordered the immortal's body. Immortal's body, kill this gorilla. The word gorilla made the deaf Taoist so angry that he spat out blood. In the distance, the immortal's body made a move. He dashed over like an arrow and punched at the deaf Taoist's head. Roar! The deaf Taoist swung his huge fist and punched at the immortal's body. His fist was surrounded by a dark air. Everywhere his fist passed by, the space would tremble and the wind would howl. Boom! The 2 fists, one big and one small, bumped into each other. The immortal's body was smashed away. The deaf Taoist was knocked back as well. The skin on his arm was cracked, and blood was spilling out. It was a horrifying sight. Well, Luli was taken aback. The deaf Taoist could not believe what he had seen as well. As far as Luli could tell, the immortal's body's attack was powerful. Not even warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm could survive one punch from the immortal's body. However, the deaf Taoist only had a broken arm. The deaf Taoist was even more shocked. He seemed to have absolute confidence in his defense. How could he be hurt by the immortal's body in one punch? The immortal's body did not react at all. Whoosh, the immortal's body kept coming. He was so fast that the deaf Taoist finally came to his senses. This time, he did not use his fist. The deaf Taoist's hand glowed as a yellowish stone column appeared. The stone column was 100 feet long and had a diameter of 1 meter. It looked like a pillar that could prop up the sky. A black iron chain was wrapped around the column. Instead of a yellowish glow, the column was surrounded by a dark air, giving it a spooky look. The deaf Taoist was over 100 feet tall after the transformation. He held the stone column in his hand and swung it in the air. It was a shocking scene. Bang! The stone column and the immortal's body's fist collided. What surprised Luli was that the immortal's body was smashed away again, but the stone column did not break. Impossible. The god corpse could even shatter quasi-god artifacts and ancestral artifacts with a single punch. The immortal's corpse punched the stone pillar, but nothing happened to it. Could it be that the stone pillar was a divine artifact? Luli used psychic power to check, but did not sense any divine might. Relic artifacts did have divine might. What was more, all relics had spirits. Luli did not sense any in this stone column. Shio, the immortal's body kept on coming. However, before he could get close, he was smashed away by the deaf Taoist. The immortal's body did not have a soul. His method of attack was simple, which was to dash around and punch. The deaf Taoist could predict the immortal's body's trajectory and knock him away. Bang, bang, bang. Every time the immortal's body came, the deaf Taoist would smash the immortal's body away with the stone column. After several attacks, the deaf Taoist turned away from the immortal's body and turned to Luli. What? Luli and the deaf Taoist looked into each other's eyes. Suddenly, Luli remembered the dragon demon's eyes. Sensing the deaf Taoist's energy, Luli's pupils contracted as he yelled, "You are not a paleo beast or a special race. You are a beast from the region of doom." Paleo beasts could not have such strong defense. The stone column was not a relic, but it was strong nonetheless. Also, the deaf Taoist's energy was similar to that of the dragon demon, which was why Luli said so. Ha punk, you know a lot. But even with a relic armor, you will still die today. The deaf Taoist sneered. This time his voice was not loud. Luli heard it directly. The deaf Taoist crossed the sky. His strong body was like a moving hill. He swung the stone column and smashed it at Luli. It was like a man trying to kill a fly. Boom, boom, boom. Everywhere the stone column was at, space trembled. Luli tried to dodge to the sides. However, due to the instability of the space, his speed was slowed down. He was like a small boat in the raging sea, struggling to move. Boom! The stone column smashed down, and Luli was smashed into the ground. A huge pit appeared on the ground. Poof! Luli spat out some blood. His eyes were filled with shock because he was injured by the powerful force. The relic armor could not stand the force of the stone column. His physical body was strong, and yet he was injured so easily. Whoosh! The stone column was lifted up and smashed down again. Luli felt the sky darkened. The stone column came down again. Luli used psychic power to check the inside of the relic armor. Poof! This time he was injured again. Blood spilled out from his mouth. But he had a clear look. As the stone column smashed down, a strand of dark air seeped into his body through the relic armor, which was why he was injured. Bang! In the sky, the immortal's body flew over. The deaf Taoist could no longer attack Luli. He had to smash the immortal's body away. Go! Naturally, Luli would not resign himself to fate and allow the deaf Taoist to attack. Luli was filled with killing intent. His eyes glowed red. He had used the Slayer's move. Every time the Slayer's move was used, it would be intimidating. Winds and clouds would change. Qianqi and heaven and earth would swarm in from all sides. At once, the deaf Taoist was suppressed. Swish, a ray of blood-red sword light appeared and dashed toward the deaf Taoist. The deaf Taoist felt his vision turned red. He saw a world of blood. Boom! The blood-red ray of sword light landed on the deaf Taoist's huge body. He was smashed away. The black hair on his chest fell off. Blood was dripping down. There was a crack that was neither deep nor shallow. How? The deaf Taoist's huge eyes were filled with astonishment. He stared at his chest and murmured in disbelief. How is this possible? How is this possible? Punk, you're only at the initial stage of the semi-god realm. How can you have such a powerful move? Not even a skill from the divinity can be so destructive. Whoosh, Luli flew out from the pit. He was amazed by the deaf Taoist's defense as well. That being said, since the Slayer's move could injure the deaf Taoist, and a serious one at that, Luli would win if the fight went on. Chapter 1144. If the deaf Taoist were just a warrior from the purgatory of primordial chaos, Luli would rather kill him than kill him. After all, he did not hate the deaf Taoist too much. However, the deaf Taoist was a beast from the region of doom, which was a different story. If the deaf Taoist were a beast without intelligence like the dragon demon, Luli would not mind. It just so happened that the deaf Taoist could transform into a human being. He had been lurking in the purgatory of primordial chaos for hundreds of years. Who could tell what he was up to? Luli did not know much about the region of doom. He only knew that it was a place in the divinity where evil and sinister beasts resided. If Luli was not capable enough, he would let it go. But now that he had the chance to kill the deaf Taoist, he would not let it go. Swish! Luli wielded the black relic weapon and released the Slayer's move again. The deaf Taoist reacted quickly. He swung the stone column and smashed at Luli. However, as soon as the deaf Taoist waved the stone column, the world in front of him was occupied by blood. Qianqi in heaven and earth suppressed him. He could not move. Bang! The blood-red ray of sword light landed on the deaf Taoist's chest and smashed him away. The wound on his chest was deeper. Blood gushed out and splashed into the sky. Roar! The deaf Taoist bellowed into the sky. With a black glow around him, he ran away as fast as he could. He was not slower than the immortal's body. Boom! The deaf Taoist flew away for hundreds of miles. There was a warrior that was watching. The deaf Taoist swung the stone column and smashed that warrior into a pulp. Run! The warriors that were watching did not dare to stay any longer. They flew up and fled into the distance in fear. The deaf Taoist was too strong. He was enraged. If they dared to stay any longer, they would all be killed. You want to run? Luli sneered. He went into the wicked bead and put away the immortal's body. The wicked bead glowed and dashed away in a blur. The wicked bead was several times faster than the deaf Taoist. How is this possible? The deaf Taoist looked back and saw the wicked bead coming at him at a horrifying speed. Once again, the deaf Taoist was shocked. Luli had surprised the deaf Taoist time and time again. A young human being had overturned the deaf Taoist's understanding of the 9 universes for hundreds of years. Boy, when the wicked bead caught up, Luli swung the stone column and smashed at the wicked bead. He smashed at the wicked bead with all his strength. However, the wicked bead only gave out a cyan glare. Surprisingly, the wicked bead didn't step back for even one bit. Transcendent grade, God, artifact? There was a glint of greed in the deaf Taoist's eyes. But he did not stop. With a dark glow, he flew into the distance. Xiao! The wicked bead chased after the deaf Taoist. It went around the deaf Taoist and stopped in front of him. Luli came out and hacked at the deaf Taoist. Hiss! The wind and clouds were trembling, and the sky changed color. The deaf Taoist, who was flying away, was stopped. Then, the blood-red ray of sword light landed on him. The deaf Taoist was smashed away, and his chest was a bloody mess. Roar, roar! The deaf Taoist bellowed into the sky. His voice spread to an area with a radius of thousands of miles. His ferocious chi and energy made the fleeing warriors tremble. The deaf Taoist yelled. His body glowed in a dark light. Once again, he grew dozens of feet taller, and his energy became more horrifying. Roar, roar, this time the deaf Taoist did not run away. The iron chain on the stone column glowed in a dark light. The chain went into the stone column and wandered around, making the dark glow of the stone column even brighter. Is he losing his mind? Luli sneered. This time, without any hesitation, he hacked at the deaf Taoist with a relic weapon. He would like to see how many more moves the deaf Taoist could take. Boom! Once again, the deaf Taoist was smashed away. This time, he did not run away. He bellowed and dashed toward Luli. While he was in the air, he smashed the stone column at Luli. Boom, 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 space trembled. Before the stone column was smashed down, a dark shadow came out and whooshed toward Luli. What is that? Luli saw a huge black flood dragon. He dashed into the wicked bead at once. Boom! The black flood dragon smashed into the wicked bead, which was glaring. Luli was taken aback by what he sensed. This was a powerful strike. If he were to take it head-on, he would be injured again. Buzzing, Luli let out the immortal's body and the stone golems as well. The stone golems could not do much, but they could distract the deaf Taoist's sight. Whoosh, 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 the immortal's body and the stone golems dashed toward the deaf Taoist. The latter bellowed into the sky and waved the stone column, smashing away the immortal's body and smashing the stone golems. That world-destroying ferocious might, that ruthless aura, that majestic scene, it shook one's heart, sucked one's soul. Buzzing, Luli dashed out and swung the relic weapon to release the Slayer's move. The deaf Taoist was smashed away again and again. His injuries were getting worse, and he was slowing down. Punk, stop. Let's talk. Once again, the deaf Taoist was smashed away. The wound on his chest was too horrible to look at. White bones could be seen. Some of them were broken, exposing his internal organs. Luli had to admit that the deaf Taoist's body was ridiculously strong, and his attacks were still so violent. There is nothing to talk about, Luli replied coldly. If you were a human, I could spare your life. But you are a creature from the region of doom. I will kill you today. Boom. After smashing away the immortal's body, the deaf Taoist glared at Luli and said, "It is true that I am a creature, but I do not mean to harm the human race. I was called here by the deranged Taoist pair by accident. I almost died in the region of doom. I came to the purgatory of primordial chaos to recover and then go back to the region of doom. If it were not for the fact that I was exhausted in that fight, how could you have hurt me today? Let me give you a piece of advice. Stop now. We will mind our own business. If you push me too hard, then let's fight to the bitter end." I see. Luli understood now. No wonder the deranged Taoist pair and the deaf Taoist did not seem to be on good terms. The deaf Taoist owed them a favor. So, this was the reason. That being said, Luli remained calm. He said coldly, "Fight to the bitter end? If you have the ability, then go ahead and try. I am not belittling you. But you are not strong enough to crack my wicked bead." The deaf Taoist looked at the wicked bead in Luli's hand, frustrated. Looking up at Luli, the deaf Taoist said, "Then what can I do for you to let me go? Do you want me to be your slave for 100 years? If the deaf Taoist did not mention it, Luli would not have such an idea. But now that the deaf Taoist mentioned it, Luli was intrigued. The deaf Taoist was horrifying. Also, he said that he had not recovered to his prime. If Luli could tame the deaf Taoist would be a great help in the divinity, let alone the 9 universes and the Yin family. Chapter 1145. 500 Years. The deaf Taoist was hesitating. For him, 100 years and 500 years were not that different. Because he was a magical beast of the infernal domain, his lifespan was far too long. A moment later, the deaf Taoist turned to the immortal's body and said impatiently, "Tell your puppets to stop." Luli stopped the immortal's body and the rest of the stone golems. The deaf Taoist thought for a while and said, "You must take an almighty oath. Also, you have to promise me something." Luli was intrigued. Still, he said with determination, "Tell me what it is. If I cannot do it, don't mention it." The deaf Taoist said, "If you cannot go to the divinity, you must set me free in 100 years. If you can go to the divinity, you must send me back to the region of doom." Region of doom? Lu Li should be able to ascend to the divinity. Even if he could not integrate the map of fundamental principle, he still had the Slayer's move. Lu Li asked, "Is it difficult to go to the region of doom from the divinity? If it is too difficult, I will not go." "Not really." The deaf Taoist explained, "Many people in the divinity go to the region of doom to cultivate. It seems that many major cities can be teleported to the region of doom for 100,000 divine sources." 100,000 divine sources? Lu Li was relieved. The Yin family seemed to have spent a lot of divine sources to invite warriors of the 9 universes. Theoretically speaking, it should not be difficult for him to get some divine sources in the divinity. Lu Li nodded. "No problem. When I go to the divinity, I will find a way to send you back to the region of doom. Of course, there is a condition. You must serve me for 500 years. Deal." The deaf Taoist agreed readily. Then he asked Lu Li to take an almighty oath. Lu Li followed the deaf Taoist's instructions and did so. Buzzing between the deaf Taoist's eyebrows came out a dark glow. He said, "Do not resist. I will establish a master-slave contract." Lu Li was experienced in this. He once tamed the dragon demon. He was not nervous at all. The dark glow between the deaf Taoist's eyebrows was growing brighter. Soon, it shot out toward Lu Li's eyebrows. Done. Lu Li was delighted. He had gained a capable warrior. The deaf Taoist would not be weak even if he went to the divinity when he recovered. Wait. The black glare entered Lu Li's soul and began to spread wildly. Clearly, the dark energy was trying to occupy Lu Li's soul. The deaf Taoist was taking advantage of the contract to control Lu Li's soul. The silver dragon mark glowed. A silver dragon wandered around in Lu Li's soul. The dark energy was devoured by the silver dragon. Lu Li heard a miserable cry. "This is an enchanted soul? Brat, I was wrong. Hurry up and stop the demon's soul. Otherwise, if my soul is devoured, I won't be able to conclude the contract." "Kid, no, Lord, I really know my mistake this time. I won't dare to act recklessly again. Please let me go." Lu Li snorted. He was filled with anger. The deaf Taoist was so insidious. If it were not for the fact that Lu Li had the silver dragon to protect him, his soul would have perished by now. "Sir, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Hurry up and stop the silver dragon. Otherwise, I won't be able to serve you in the future. My lord, I know a lot about the God world and the devil realm. I also know that there is a place in the devil domain where a great treasure is hidden. It was left behind by a supreme from the God world. My lord, please let me go and I will tell you everything." "My lord, I'm the only one who knows about that place. If I die, nobody will know about the treasure left behind by the supreme from the divinity." The deaf Taoist's pleading voice kept ringing in Lu Li's mind. The deaf Taoist even mentioned the treasure of a supreme from the divinity. Lu Li was a bit tempted. He ordered the silver dragon mark to stop. At first, he was not confident about his orders because the silver dragon mark was not under his control. However, this time, after he gave the order, the silver dragon mark stopped. The dark energy in Lu Li's soul retreated. At this moment, a spiritual connection was established between Lu Li's mind and the deaf Taoist's. Between Lu Li's eyebrows appeared a mark. It was the deaf Taoist in the form of an orc. The deaf Taoist opened his eyes feebly. The glow in his eyes was dim, and he was exhausted. His soul must have suffered serious damage. Buzzing, the deaf Taoist shrank until he became a Taoist again. He put on his robe and knelt to Lu Li. "Greetings, master." Whoosh. Lu Li swung his relic weapon and used Xian energy to smash the deaf Taoist away. The deaf Taoist did not have the courage to defend or dodge. His chest was already a bloody mess. Now he was covered in blood. "Master, I am sorry." The deaf Taoist flew over and dropped to his knees in front of Lu Li again, filled with shame and bitterness. Lu Li snorted but had nothing to say. The deaf Taoist had become Lu Li's spiritual beast. What else could Luli do apart from abusing him? He could not kill the deaf Taoist for real. After all, the deaf Taoist was a fierce warrior. Tend to your wounds. Luli threw the deaf Taoist a cold glance. He took a healing pellet himself. Just now he was injured. Though it was not a serious injury, he still needed to tend to it. Whoosh, from the distance came a noise. Luli took a look. It was Tang. Tang must have come over to take a look since there was no more commotion. Tang saw the deaf Taoist kneeling in front of Lu Li from the distance. He was taken aback. Just now, when the deaf Taoist was so powerful, Tang had thought that Lu Li would lose. However, the fight was over so soon, and the deaf Taoist was kneeling in front of Lu Li. Was he convinced? The deaf Taoist glanced at Tang, who felt a chill running down his spine. The deaf Taoist thought about it and said, "Master, should I go and kill them? After all, if they know who I am, it will be troublesome." What? Tang's heart skipped a beat. The deaf Taoist called Lu Li his master? Had he become Lu Li's sole slave? How could Lu Li be so aggressive? He was so young, so powerful, and he had the deaf Taoist under his control. That being said, Tang was frightened when he heard that the deaf Taoist was going to kill people. Tang was much slower and weaker than the deaf Taoist. He could not run, even if he wanted to. "It's okay," Lu Li waved his hand. "You are with me now. Even if all the warriors of the 9 universes come, I can protect you. What are you afraid of?" Lu Li's words were arrogant, but he was confident. Tang admired Lu Li's words. He flew over, dropped to his knees in front of Lu Li and said, "Greetings, Lord Lu. Lord Lu, I cannot ever repay your kindness. I am willing to follow you, to be at your beck and call, to do what I can." Lu Li helped Tang kill the deranged Taoist pair and saved his life. Tang seemed to be a man who valued friendship. He didn't run away just now, which was proof of that. Lu Li liked Tang's character. He nodded and said, "Tang, stand up. Since you want to stay with me for a while, then go ahead. When we conquer the 9 universes, I will give your family a universe." What? Tang was overjoyed. He just wanted to repay Lu Li's kindness. He did not expect that Lu Li would be so generous. As for whether Lu Li could conquer the 9 universes, Tang did not think too much about it. What else could this freak from the Heaven Reverse universe not achieve if he could tame a powerful warrior like the deaf Taoist? Chapter 1146. Have you seen this man before? Lu Li took out a portrait and showed it to the deaf Taoist and Tang. Tang looked at it and was confused. That's right. Tang was confused, but the deaf Taoist recognized him right away. "His name is Lu Renhuang. He met me 3 months ago, but I beat him away." "Master, are you looking for him?" "Yes." Lu Li nodded. "This is my father. I am looking for him. Do you know where he is?" "What?" The deaf Taoist dropped to his knees at once. "Master, please forgive me. I did not know it was your father. I did not know how to control my strength. But your father is very powerful. His profound meaning of ice is almost at the peak. He even froze me in there. Ice profoundness." Old Freak Tang suddenly thought of something and said, "Could it be the legendary ice demon?" Lu Li frowned and asked, "What ice demon?" Tang explained, "It is said that in the prison of ice, there is a madman, no, a powerful warrior, skilled in profound meaning of ice. His profound meaning of ice is very powerful, and he has been challenging others. Every once in a while, his abilities will grow. His profound meaning of ice is so powerful that he can freeze anyone in there. Many warriors wanted to hunt him down, but they could not because they were frozen. So, he is my father." Lu Li once heard from Heaven Seeker and Feng Aoshua that Lu Renhuang had been challenging powerful warriors and his abilities have been improving by leaps and bounds. Lu Li ignored Tang and asked the deaf Taoist again, "Do you know where my father is?" "I don't know. The last time I saw him was 3 months ago. Nobody knows where he is now." The deaf Taoist shook his head and said, "Master, don't worry. I will send a message and ask someone to look for your father." "Okay." Lu Li nodded. The deaf Taoist shouted at once. Not long afterward, a man dashed over from the distance like an arrow. This man's realm was not high, but he was fast. Luli sensed the profound meaning of wind in him, but he must have integrated other profound meanings. This was not a pure, profound meaning. Send my message. The deaf Taoist said, tell them that I am looking for the ice demon and I have something important to tell him. Whoever knows where ice demon is, send me a message immediately. Whoever finds ice demon will owe me a favor. If you find ice demon, tell him that his family is looking for him. All right. The newcomer was rather small in stature and had a flattering smile on his face. He nodded and bowed like a servant. He cupped his fist to the deaf Taoist, Luli, and Tang. Then, he dashed out like a snake and vanished into the distance. Master, please wait patiently. The deaf Taoist cupped his fists and said, that person will spread my message soon. I think in half a month at most, he will come back. As long as your father is in the prison of ice, he will be found soon. All right. Luli nodded and told the deaf Taoist to tend to his wounds. Tang thought about it and said, Lord, I will ask some friends to look for him. You stay here. Tang was a sensible man. Luli went back to the wicked bead. At the same time, he asked Hiyu to release her subsidiary bodies to search around. Then, he quietly waited for the news. Luli went back to the wicked bead and started to cultivate. 10 days or half a month soon passed. Maybe by the time he came out, Lu Renhuang would have been found. Luli continued to study the map of fundamental principle. The last words left by Emperor of Heaven Reverse kept repeating in his mind. Fundamental principle. Everything has an origin, vacuum, and illusion. The focus is on the origin and truth. The meaning of the words origin and truth was simple. Focus on the origin and truth. But what did this have to do with the integration of the 12 maps of fundamental principle? Luli had never been able to figure this out. Maybe it was the words left behind by Emperor of Heaven Reverse that troubled him. When I find my father, I should go to the prison of wind when I have time. Luli made up his mind. Lu Renhuang could learn profound meanings related to ice at a fast pace in the prison of ice. Maybe Luli could be inspired by the prison of wind. He wanted to go to the prison of darkness and prison of soul and eventually the prison of thunder. He did not have to go through the prison of thunder. All he needed to do was reach the prison of thunder. He wanted to send Little White to the prison of thunder. If Little White could absorb energy of thunderbolts, its abilities would improve by leaps and bounds. Not only would her strength improve by leaps and bounds, she might even be able to follow him to the immortal world. Time passed in cultivation. Soon, 17 days had passed. The deaf Taoist, who was sitting with his legs crossed, had almost recovered. After all, his physical body was strong, and he could recover quickly. The peaceful time was disrupted by 2 people flying over from the distance. The deaf Taoist opened his eyes. The short semi-god realm warrior he sent to deliver the message had brought back an old man, an earth immortal realm warrior. Lu Feng, what is going on? The deaf Taoist looked at the short semi-god realm warrior with displeasure. He had been gone for more than 10 days without any news. Why did he bring back an earth immortal realm warrior? Lu Feng cupped his fists and said, Lord, this man works for the Ice Devil. He said he has news about the Ice Devil. Oh, the deaf Taoist looked at the earth immortal realm warrior with a glint of ferocity in his eyes. Where's the Ice Devil? There was a trace of hesitation in the old man's eyes as he said weakly, Didn't you say that his family is looking for him? Lord Lu Feng, are you lying to me? I told you to say it. Don't waste my time. The deaf Taoist was displeased. Violent energy surged out from him. How could a mere earth immortal realm warrior disobey him? Was this man courting death? Shut up. A cold voice came from the wicked bead in the distance. You had alarmed Luli. Luli dashed out and dashed over. The earth immortal realm warrior was overjoyed. He dropped to his knees and said, Grand Master. Luli came out because he recognized this man. This was a patriarch of the demon-slaying hall. His surname was Yi, a progenitor warrior of a branch of the Yi family. He came to the prison of ice with Lu Renhuang. Master, seeing Luli coming, the deaf Taoist dropped to one knee in fear. Luli had just told him to shut up, which meant that he was furious. Lord Lu Feng. Seeing that the deaf Taoist was on his knees, Lu Feng dropped to his knees in fear. The patriarch of the Yi family was taken aback. It had only been a few years. How come Lu Li had become so powerful? Even a warrior from the purgatory of primordial chaos had to kneel to him? The deaf Taoist called Lu Li master. Patriarch Yi, please rise. Lu Li helped Patriarch Yi up and asked, "Do you know where my father is?" "In the prison of wind." Patriarch Yi said solemnly. Lord Lu might have gone to the prison of wind. He must have been hunted by Blazing Hua and the other 3 warriors. He had to flee to the prison of wind. I don't know how he is now. What? Lu Li was taken aback. He was filled with killing intent. He asked the deaf Taoist, "Who is Blazing Hua?" The deaf Taoist said solemnly, "Blazing Hua's name is Hua Tianyan. He is the progenitor warrior of the Hua family in the Hippocampus universe. He ranks second among the purgatory of purgatory's top 10. Master, we must go to the prison of wind at once, or your father will be in grave danger." Buzzing, Lu Li went into the wicked bead at once, and then put everyone in. Without wasting any time, he dashed toward the entrance of the prison of wind. A jade talisman appeared in his hand. It was Lu Renhuang's jade talisman of life. Lu Li was relieved to see that it was still intact. Chapter 1147. On the way, Lu Li asked Patriarch Yi about the specific situation. Patriarch Yi told Lu Li everything that had happened recently. Lu Li finally understood why Patriarch Yi suspected that Lu Renhuang was being hunted by Blazing Hua. Lu Renhuang had been challenging powerful warriors in the prison of ice, but he was a man of principle. He would only fight and never kill. Even if someone angered him, as long as he could defeat the enemy, he would not easily kill them, unless there was no other way. The title of Ice Devil was earned by Lu Renhuang's repeated challenges and breakthroughs. It was also an affirmation of Lu Renhuang's strength from the old freaks cultivating in the prison of ice. Actually, many warriors in the prison of ice liked Lu Renhuang. No discord, no concord. On the contrary, some old warriors were looking forward to Lu Renhuang's challenge because both of them might be inspired and have a breakthrough during the fight. Lu Renhuang loved challenges, but he was not an idiot. There were some warriors in the prison of ice that he dared not to provoke before he was strong enough. Otherwise, he might just kill them if he angered them, like the deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua. Lu Renhuang dared not to offend any of the Purgatory's 10. He knew that he was more powerful than average warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm, but there was still a gap between him and the Purgatory's 10. The reputation of these old monsters was not based on boasting. Instead, it was established through battles and the corpses of their enemies. He did not go to Blazing Hua, but not long ago, Blazing Hua suddenly said that he wanted to fight with Lu Renhuang. Lu Renhuang happened to run into the deaf Taoist and was wounded. Lu Renhuang ran back to the place where he hid with Patriarch Yi to tend to his wounds. Lu Li had fought against the deaf Taoist and knew how powerful the Purgatory's top 10 were. Naturally, Lu Li would not dare to fight against Blazing Hua. Therefore, he led Elder Yi and the others to change their hiding place overnight, preparing to hide in the wind prison. Unexpectedly, they were intercepted by Blazing Hua's men and killed the other 2 Earth Immortal Elders. Lu Renhuang stopped the 3 pursuers by himself so that Patriarch Yi could escape first. Is it because of me that Blazing Hua took the initiative to cause trouble for my father? Lu Li's eyes turned cold. If Blazing Hua knew that Lu Renhuang was Lu Li's father, he might have some other thoughts. After all, by capturing Lu Renhuang could threaten Lu Li with certain things, such as forcing Lu Li to hand over the relic. Whoosh! The wicked bead whooshed on at the top of its speed. Lu Li was growing impatient. His relationship with Lu Renhuang was not particularly deep. That being said, blood ties could not be changed. What was more, he had been influenced by Lu Ling since he was a kid, so he didn't hate Lu Renhuang. After Lu Renhuang came out from the ice abyss, he made up for the lack of fatherly love, and Lu Li accepted him. The entrance to the prison of wind was not far away, but it still took Luli 2 days to get there. Along the way, Luli kept an eye on Lu Renhuang's jade talisman of life, worried that it might explode. All of a sudden, at the entrance to the prison of wind, Luli dashed out and dashed into the passageway leading to the towering mountain. However, the gravity in this passageway had actually become extremely terrifying. Fortunately, his physical body was very strong. Although his speed was somewhat affected, he still easily rushed up the sky-piercing mountain. After a blur, Luli found himself in a desert. As soon as he came out, he flew up. He did not fly here on his own, but was blown up by the wind. Given Lu Li's fighting capacity, even if an average warrior punched him, he wouldn't move one bit, let alone a gust of wind. However, the wind here lifted Lu Li up and swept him into the sky. It was not hard to imagine how horrifying the wind here was. Lu Li did not panic. He let the wind blow him up and checked the surroundings with psychic power. After a few glances, he retracted his divine will because there was nothing else to see in the wind prison. There was only the Gobi Desert in all directions, and the sky was filled with yellow sand and strong winds. In the distance, he could even see a few tornadoes that connected to the sky. The prison of wind deserved its reputation. This was a world of wind. Buzzing, Luli steadied himself and sent out the deaf Taoist and Lu Feng. The two were surprised. How come they had arrived at the prison of wind in just 2 days? The speed of the wicked bead was too fast. Luli waved his hand. How can I find my father? Do you have a good idea? The deaf Taoist turned to Lu Feng, who cupped his fists and said, Lord, leave it to me. I have some friends in the prison of wind. I will ask them to look for him at once. Here are 10 jade talismans, which represent different places. Taoist, you know. Lu Feng cupped his fists again and left. Luli decided that he could not sit around and wait. He took the deaf Taoist into the wicked bead and flew in the opposite direction. Who is this Lu Feng? Luli asked with curiosity as the wicked bead flew away. The deaf Taoist curled his lips. He is just an information peddler. He makes use of information from all over the purgatory of primordial chaos to make friends with others. Oh, I see. Luli nodded. He used psychic power to check the surroundings. The scenery in the prison of wind was poor. Along the way, there were either deserts or Gobi. Occasionally, he would see some mountains, but they were all bare and black. That being said, the wind in the prison of wind was violent. Usually, the mountains would have been blown away. An hour later, Luli suddenly stopped the wicked bead. He noticed someone in front of him. In the desert, there was a tornado with a diameter of over 1,000 feet. In the center of the tornado was a gray-haired old man flying against the wind. He must be cultivating. The gray-haired old man used psychic power to check, but showed no intention to pay attention to Luli. He closed his eyes and continued to walk against the wind in the tornado. Luli dashed out. He cupped his fist to the old man and said, Sir, can I ask you something? Luli wanted to ask if he had seen Blazing Hua and Lu Renhuang flying by. His tone was sincere and polite. However, the gray-haired old man answered impatiently, Piss off or die. Luli was speechless about these old warriors who could kill people at the drop of a hat. The wicked bead glowed. Luli let out the deaf Taoist and said to the gray-haired old man, Ask him if he has seen Blazing Hua. What? The gray-haired old man stopped when he saw the deaf Taoist. He flew over and dropped to one knee in front of the deaf Taoist. Nice to meet you, deaf Taoist. Whoosh! The deaf Taoist kicked the old man. Noticing that Luli was not happy, the deaf Taoist could tell that the old man had spoken rudely to Luli. The deaf Taoist was forceful. The gray-haired old man did not dodge and was smashed away. His chest was dented and he spat out blood. Luli waved his hand. Okay, let's get down to business. Get over here. The deaf Taoist shouted. The gray-haired old man flew over and dropped to one knee again. Forgive me, Taoist. Lord, please forgive me. I am as blind as a bat. I could not recognize you. Where is Blazing Hua? Have you seen the ice hunter? The deaf Taoist came straight to the point. The latter shook his head. He was confused, indicating that he did not know. Chapter 1148. The gray-haired old man left. Luli and the deaf Taoist flew into the wicked bead again. Not long afterward, they encountered another warrior. This time, Luli did not go out. The warriors in the purgatory of primordial chaos had strange temperaments. He appeared to be only at the initial stage of the semi-god realm, so those warriors would not talk to him. Luli didn't want to be humiliated. He threw the deaf Taoist out and told him to ask. Luli flew for 10 hours and encountered 6 warriors along the way. None of them had any information, but the deaf Taoist sent the 6 warriors to look for Luli. The deaf Taoist was well known in the purgatory of primordial chaos. The average warriors did not dare to disobey him. Luli made up his mind to change direction after receiving no information. If Blazing Hua and Lu Renhuang were heading this way, they would alert the warriors here. At first, Luli was heading north. Now, he was heading west. What? This place is strange. When they flew over another mountain range, Luli noticed something strange about the wind. When the wind blew into the mountains, it would speed up and then slow down. Sometimes there would be tornadoes. Occasionally, Luli felt the wind cause sonic booms and soul attacks. I will come and have a look when I have the time. Luli committed this place to memory. There are more than a dozen unique mountains here. Nature's rhythm was formed. Maybe it would be helpful for him to integrate the wind-related fundamental principle. Luli saw another valley in the distance after he flew out of the mountains. The wind there was violent and rapid. Luli had an idea. He flew the wicked bead in at once. Influenced by the valley, the wind speed was at the extreme. The wicked bead's speed was doubled in here. This is a good place. If it were not for the fact that Lu Renhuang's matter had not been resolved, Luli would like to stop and cultivate for a while. When Luli flew out of the valley, the deaf Taoist suddenly opened his eyes. The deaf Taoist took out 10 jade talismans, and one of them was broken. Lord, to the southwest. There is news from Lu Feng. The deaf Taoist's words cheered Luli up. He changed the direction at once and asked, "Where does the jade talisman represent?" The deaf Taoist thought about it and said, "It is the wind's gulf. It is not far away. I can fly there in half a day. It is a pity that the wind here is too strong and space is unstable. Otherwise, I could teleport there." "It's all right." The deaf Taoist was as fast as the immortal's body. The wicked bead was much faster than the deaf Taoist. The wicked bead could travel for a couple of hours at most. Lu Renhuang had been in the prison of wind for several days. Since he was still alive, he should be able to hold on for a few more hours. The wicked bead flew on at a high speed. Luli's expressions did not change much, but inside, he was getting more and more anxious. After flying for 4 hours, he forced himself to calm down and asked, "Does Blazing Hua have any powerful Upanishads or secret skills?" Blazing Hua ranked number 2 among the Purgatory's top 10. He might not be as horrifying as the deaf Taoist, but he deserved his reputation. It was better to be careful. "Fire," the deaf Taoist said with fear. Blazing Hua is second in the 9 universes when it comes to playing with fire. Nobody can claim to be the best. The most terrifying thing about him was that he had absorbed 3 types of heaven and earth wondrous flames. These 3 types of flames were naturally nurtured by heaven and earth and were extremely terrifying. Among them, the most powerful is the 9 heavens nether flame. Even I don't dare to face it head on, or I'll be burned to ashes. Huh? Luli raised his eyebrows. Can my relic armor stand it? The deaf Taoist thought about it and said, "Theoretically speaking, it should be fine. The relic armor is strong, and the formations inside can dissolve many powerful attacks, especially when the attacks of mortal warriors are only so strong. But, Lord, be careful. The 9 heavens nether flame is white, and there are many baby faces on it. Just stay away as soon as you see it." Luli was reassured. He flew on in the wicked bead. 2 hours later, he saw a huge abyss in the distance. He noticed that the wind from all sides was swirling into the abyss, forming a huge swirl. It was a breathtaking scene. "We have arrived at the wind's abyss," Luli shouted to the deaf Taoist. He used psychic power to check the surroundings. Soon, Luli locked onto someone and dashed out from the wicked bead with the deaf Taoist. Whoosh, Lu Feng flew over. The deaf Taoist shouted, "Lord, deaf Taoist, if my information is correct, the ice hunter should be at the bottom of the wind's abyss. Blazing Hua and the others should be down there as well. Someone saw them flying over 3 days ago." Luli turned to the deaf Taoist. The latter threw a jade talisman to Lu Li without hesitation and dashed toward the wind's abyss like a bird. Soon, he disappeared into the swirl of wind. It was dim in the wind's abyss. He could not see clearly, and psychic power could not reach far. That huge swirl of wind was like the mouth of a beast that could devour all living beings. Bang! Not long afterward, the jade talisman in Lu Li's hand cracked. Without any hesitation, Lu Li went into the wicked bead and flew it toward the swirl of wind. As soon as the wicked bead entered the swirl, Lu Li did not let the wicked bead spin along with the wind. Therefore, the wicked bead suffered strong attacks. Lu Li could tell that the strength of the wind here was no weaker than that of a warrior at the initial stage of the semi-god realm. He flew the wicked bead in a straight line toward the bottom of the wind's abyss. The wind's abyss was deep. Lu Li reached the bottom after a distance of 200 miles. "Lord, there are signs of a battle here. There are signs of fire-related and ice-related profound meanings being used." The deaf Taoist was at the bottom of the abyss. He shouted from the distance. Lu Li used psychic power to check the surroundings. There was no one down there, but he did see a passageway in the corner. As soon as he found the passageway, the deaf Taoist reported, "There is a teleportation portal in the passageway. It should be connected to a universe or small world. Let's go." Lu Li dashed out from the wicked bead and dashed to the end of the passageway with the deaf Taoist. There was a glowing black entrance. The relic armor appeared over Lu Li's body, and the relic weapon appeared in his hand. He dashed into the entrance first. After a flash of white light, Lu Li found himself in a small world. The Shenxi in heaven and earth here was weak. There were hardly any plants here. It was bleak. The deaf Taoist followed him in. Lu Li took the deaf Taoist back into the wicked bead without hesitation and flew into the distance. Boom, boom, boom. In an hour, Lu Li heard some noises of explosion in the distance. He could vaguely see the sky was torn apart. Many strange human civilians were running around in fear as if they were in a doomsday. It must be my father. Lu Li used psychic power to check. In the distance, the space was frozen. Even the cracks in space were frozen. In the sky, there were many huge cities of ice. It must be Lu Renhuang who had such a powerful ice-related profound meaning. Ha ha ha. A loud laughter came from the distance. "Ice Hunter, how long can you last? How many times can you release Icebound World? Surrender obediently, or I'll burn you to ashes. Ice Hunter, Father." Lu Li's heart trembled. The wicked bead dashed over. Soon, Lu Li's psychic power locked onto a middle-aged man covered in blood. One of his hands was broken, and many parts of his body were burnt beyond recognition. Chapter 1149. It had been years since Lu Renhuang left the Heaven Reverse Universe. Not long after Lu Li defeated the Asmodean Lord, Lu Renhuang left. He never came back. He did not know what was going on in the Heaven Reverse Universe because he was not interested in anything else. Otherwise, if he knew that warriors of the 9 universes were invading the Heaven Reverse Universe, he would have come back a long time ago. Lu Renhuang was like Lu Zhengyang in character. He was stubborn and would go all the way when he set his mind on something. That was why he was given the title Ice Hunter during his years in the purgatory of primordial chaos. It meant that he was obsessed with cultivation. Lu Renhuang only loved one girl, Lu Li's mother, the daughter of the chief of the Dilong tribe. When his wife was dying, Lu Renhuang had no choice but to leave his son and daughter behind. He jumped into the ice abyss with his wife in his arms. It had been more than a decade. Eventually, his beloved wife could not be saved, and he was trapped in the ice abyss. From that day on, his heart was dead. The only things on his mind were his children and the path of cultivation. There was a flame burning in his heart. He wanted to reach the highest realm, to become an immortal, to become the most powerful warrior in the divinity. He wanted to bring his wife back. That was his only wish in this life. Therefore, after the heaven reverse universe was settled, Lu Ren Huang came to the prison of ice alone. He paid no attention to the outside world. He did not know that warriors of the 9 universes and Yin Zhen were invading the heaven reverse universe. This time, the situation was worse than ever. Blazing Hua and 4 warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm were attacking Lu Ren Huang. If they were just average warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm, Lu Ren Huang would not be afraid. However, Blazing Hua's fire was too strong. His most powerful, profound meaning, icebound world, could freeze everyone. Several months ago, the deaf Taoist was frozen, which was why Lu Ren Huang could escape. This time, Lu Ren Huang could freeze Blazing Hua, but Blazing Hua could break it and chase after Lu Ren Huang. Lu Ren Huang had been on the run for months, from the prison of ice to the prison of wind to the wind's abyss, and then to this small world. If it were not for the fact that Blazing Hua wanted to capture Lu Ren Huang alive, Lu Ren Huang would have died. One of Lu Ren Huang's hand was burned off, and he was covered in wounds. Because he had released Icebound World for so many times, he was exhausted. He had already accepted his fate. He wanted to risk his life for the last time. Even if he died, he wanted to leave an unforgettable wound on Blazing Hua. At this moment, he heard a familiar voice. The word father caused his heart to tremble, and a cold glint appeared in his dim eyes. His gaze swept over, and he saw a familiar figure. It had been years since they last met. Luli didn't seem to have changed much. However, he looked more mature, more heroic, and more domineering and majestic. Clearly, Luli had surpassed his master. Soul formation? He used psychic power to check Luli. He was delighted to find that Luli had reached the semi-god realm. But he reacted quickly. He shouted angrily, "Luli, who told you to come here? Let's go." As far as Lu Ren Huang was concerned, Luli had defeated the Asmodean Lord and had reached the semi-god realm. But compared to Blazing Hua, his combat power should be far weaker. Not to mention Blazing Hua, he could not even defeat one of the 4 cultivators at the peak of the semi-god realm. Therefore, when Luli dashed over, Lu Ren Huang was not delighted. Instead, he was terrified. Lu Ren Huang's death was not a big deal. But if both his father and his son were to die here, then his bloodline would be cut off. Luli could see the worry and fear in Lu Ren Huang's eyes. But Luli had no intention of stepping back. He dashed over and looked at Lu Ren Huang. Luli noticed that Lu Ren Huang's chest was showing his bones, and many parts of his skin were burnt. His left arm was broken at the shoulder, and the wound was charred. Lu Ren Huang's eyes were bloodshot, and hot tears rolled down his cheeks. His father's injuries were more painful than being stabbed 100 times. Killing intent spread out from Lu Ren Huang. Staring at Blazing Hua, Lu Ren Huang said coldly, "Blazing Hua, right? What family of the hippocampus universe, right? If I don't wipe out your entire race, I, Luli, am not a man." "What?" Blazing Hua's facial expression changed slightly. The 4 old monsters beside him also looked terrible. Blazing Hua deserved his reputation. If Blazing Hua had his means, how could Luli not? How could someone who could kill Yin Zhen and take away the relic of Yin family not have powerful means? Blazing Hua was hunting Lu Ren Huang because of Luli. Blazing Hua wanted to capture Lu Ren Huang alive to force Luli to give in. However, before they could capture Lu Ren Huang, Luli had come so soon. "Luli, go." Lu Ren Huang did not know about the relic. He waved his hand, and the weather changed. Cold air surged toward him. With him as the center, the space with a radius of several miles was frozen again. Blazing Hua and the others were frozen as well. "Go, go." Lu Ren Huang screamed hysterically. He was afraid that Luli would be impulsive and come to die with him. "Father, don't worry." Luli was still flying over. The wicked bead glowed in his hand. The deaf Taoist came out, and so did the immortal's body. Pointing at Blazing Hua and the others, Luli shouted, "Kill the 4 and capture Blazing Hua alive. I will take him to the hippocampus and slaughter the entire Hua family in front of him. Roar, roar, the deaf Taoist robe was torn apart. He was growing taller and larger at a speed visible to the naked eye. His bulging muscles contained explosive power. His expression became sinister, and a tail grew out from his back as he turned into a berserk beast man. Roar, roar, the deaf Taoist bellowed into the sky. A huge stone column appeared in his hand. He was so ferocious that the people of the small world who were running away felt the end of the world was coming. Whoosh! The immortal's body flapped his wings. He dashed over in a blur and reached a semi-god realm warrior in an instant. What is this? Charge! That warrior was taken aback. How did the deaf Taoist become a monster? What kind of monster was this headless body? The immortal's body was coming. The warrior could not swing his axe at the immortal's body. Bang, boom. The immortal's body did not care. He let the axe land on him and punched at the warrior almost at the same time. The warrior's quasi-relic armor cracked. Then, his body fell into pieces, turning into a mist of blood that sprayed everywhere. What? Everything happened so fast. From the time the deaf Taoist and the immortal's body came out to the moment the warrior died, only a blink had passed. Lu Renhuang wanted to yell again to tell Lu Li to leave. However, when he opened his mouth, it was round. He could not believe what he had just seen. He was dumbfounded. Blazing Hua and the others were stunned as well. They knew that Lu Li had some tricks up his sleeves. They were afraid of the deaf Taoist as well, because they had sensed the might of the immortal's body. They knew that there would be a fierce battle today. However, the immortal's body could kill one of them in one move. Run! Apart from Blazing Hua, the other three warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm did not hesitate. They retreated at once. Their abilities were similar to the deceased warrior. Since the immortal's body could kill a warrior at the peak of the semi-god realm in one move, they would only be courting death if they stayed. Deaf Taoist, I will leave the three to you. I will deal with Blazing Hua myself. Chapter 1150. Swish, the immortal's body dashed out. Lu Li's order was to kill everyone. Since Blazing Hua did not run away, the immortal's body would not let him go. Blazing Hua did not answer Lu Li. He took out a stove and lifted it up. The stove flew up and enlarged. Then the lid was opened. Flames poured down like water, forming a wall of flames in front of Blazing Hua. Many places in the air were covered in frost, but as soon as the flames came out, the frost melted. Clearly, the flames were not regular flames. They were scorching hot. Lu Li could feel the scorching heat, even though he was several miles away. Bang! The immortal's body smashed into the wall of flames. To Lu Li's surprise, the wall of flames was like a real wall that stopped the immortal's body from moving forward. Fortunately, the immortal's body was strong. The flames only blackened his skin, but did not leave any damage. The immortal's body was blocked. Out of instinct, he swung his fist and smashed at the wall of flames. However, the immortal's body's fist was like hitting water. The wall of flames only twisted a bit. Immortal's body, go, and smash the stove up there. Lu Li ordered the immortal's body through spiritual link. The immortal's body flapped his wings and flew up. He then smashed at the stove. Boom! The stove was smashed away. The wall of flames collapsed as well. Flames danced around. Many places on the ground were ablaze. Dark smoke billowed up. The indigenous people in the distance were even more frightened. Whoosh! The immortal's body flew toward Blazing Hua, who had already stepped back. The immortal's body grabbed at the void, and the stove that was smashed away flew back like an arrow. Ah! From the distance came a miserable cry. After the deaf Taoist transformed, he was as fast as the immortal's body. It was not a problem for him to catch up with several average warriors. Even Lu Li, who was wearing a relic armor, was injured by the deaf Taoist stone column. How could the average semi-god realm warrior survive that? Blazing Hua and Lu Renhuang threw a glance over. They happened to see a warrior being smashed into a pulp by the deaf Taoist stone column. Both were shocked. Blazing Hua's eyes flickered. He was wondering whether to retreat or advance. Luli showed up, holding a relic weapon in his hand and wearing a relic armor. If he could kill Luli, the relic weapon and armor would all be his. He would be able to lead the Hua family to conquer one of the 4 major domains and lay the foundation for the Hua family for generations to come. That being said, Luli could kill Yin Zhen, and the deaf Taoist would listen to Luli's orders. Also, there was an immortal's body. All of this made Blazing Hua rather worried. If anything went wrong, he would die here today. Let's risk it. Blazing Hua bit his teeth. He did not have much time left in his life. The Hua family did not have powerful warriors. There were only 3 semi-god realm warriors, but 2 of them went to the Heaven Reverse universe and were killed by Luli. This blood feud had to be avenged. If he fought, he might even be able to obtain wealth for the Hua clan. Even if he did escape, where could he escape to? The monk could run, but not the temple. Sooner or later, Luli would go to the hippocampus universe. If he ran away, could the Hua family run away as well? Blazing Hua made up his mind. Once again, he threw out the stove. This time, he did not throw it in a straight line, but in an arc. The lid was opened. Flames poured out from the stove. Since the stove was flying at a high speed, the flames formed a wall of fire that surrounded the immortal's body. The stove circled around the immortal's body and trapped him inside. This time, the flames did not just surround the immortal's body, but also above and below. A shield of fire enveloped the immortal's body. Whoosh! After trapping the immortal's body, Blazing Hua flew over like a bird and approached Luli. Luli stepped back. Let me. Lu Renhuang's injuries were serious. That being said, seeing Blazing Hua flying toward Luli, Lu Renhuang wanted to protect him out of instinct. Lu Renhuang dashed over and was about to release the icebound world profound meaning again. Father, don't move. Luli did not even look at Blazing Hua. He looked at Lu Renhuang with a smile. Waving the relic weapon in his hand, Luli said, I have 2 relics, the relic armor and the relic weapon. I have killed the Yin family patriarch, the most powerful warrior of the 9 universes. Blazing Hua is strong, but I'm not afraid of him. Father, take care of yourself. I will avenge you. Lu Renhuang was not stupid. He was just worried. Hearing Luli's words, Lu Renhuang used psychic power to check the relic weapon and the relic armor in Luli's hands. Lu Renhuang stopped in fear. He did not know how Luli got the relic weapons and how he claimed that Luli killed the Yin family patriarch. That being said, Lu Renhuang trusted Luli. Lu Renhuang was not the kind of playboy to boast. Whoosh! Luli was relieved to see that Lu Renhuang was not coming over. He flew over. First, he built the Feather Wind Castle. In the sky, a cyan-colored castle appeared. Both Luli and Blazing Hua were covered up. Luli knew that he could not defeat Blazing Hua with only the wind-related profound meaning, but he wanted to try. More importantly, he wanted to master the wind-related profound meaning during the fight and see if he could find an opportunity to integrate them. After the Feather Wind Castle was built, Luli used Feather Wind weapons quickly and then the Wind Wisp profound meaning. Before Blazing Hua could fight back, Luli used the evil spirit of wind, tornado, and wind blade. The Feather Wind divine weapons were all over the sky. Strong winds were blowing from all directions, entangling Blazing Hua. At the same time, the winds formed a tornado that sucked Blazing Hua in. There were also wind blades around him. Child's play. Blazing Hua sneered. He waved his hands. Flames appeared around him. Then he raised his hands and shouted, "Explosion of blazing flames." The flames outside his body expanded and turned into tongues of flame that filled the sky and surged in all directions. The flames could burn something down. Lu Li's wind-related profound meaning could not put out the flames. Instead, the flames fueled the wind. The flames swept across half of the sky. The Feather Wind Castle burst open at once. Lotus Lantern! Blazing Hua shouted again. The flames that were sweeping away came back. Clusters of flames came together and formed many lanterns. Those lanterns spun around blazing Hua, trapping him in. The flames on the lanterns flickered. Even the air was trembling because of the high temperature. Clearly, the flames were strong. Go! Blazing Hua waved his hand. Over 1,000 lotus lanterns swarmed toward Luli. Blazing Hua generated more flames to form more lotus lanterns, and they swarmed toward Luli. Xianxi in this small world was thin, and the trees were not luxuriant. Therefore, the small world looked bleak and desolate. It was dark outside. Therefore, over 1,000 lotus lanterns were flying toward Luli. It was a beautiful scene. It was like tens of thousands of fireflies in the night sky, dazzling and dazzling. He has reached a certain level of playing with fire. Luli exclaimed to himself. The deaf Taoist said that Blazing Hua was the best at playing with fire in the 9 universes. It was true. Chapter 1151. Luli did not intend to run away from the lotus lamps. He wanted to test the strength of the relic armor. How could he fight against Blazing Hua if he could not even protect himself from the regular flames? Blazing Hua had 3 special kinds of flames. Bang, bang, bang. The lotus lamps bumped into Lu Li and burst out like fireworks. Lu Li found himself in a world of fire. Lia. In the distance, Lu Run Huang shouted in terror. Many parts of his body were burnt, and his arm was burnt off because of the lotus fire lamp. He didn't want to see Lu Li burn alive. The next moment, Lu Ren Huang's eyes glowed. Lu Li was standing in the center of the flames, but he was fine. His face was not even charred. He stood in the center of the flames, at ease, like a god of fire. Impressive. Blazing Hua nodded to himself. The relic armor was extraordinary. If Lu Li were to wear a quasi-relic armor and be enveloped by the flames, he would be in agony, if not burned to death. Now, Lu Li was standing in the center of the flames, as if he were taking a stroll in his backyard. The relic armor must have isolated the flames. Not even a high temperature could seep in. Whoosh, Lu Li flew toward the lotus lamps. He began to fight back. He swung the relic weapon and used the Slayer's move. Swish, in an instant, the wind and clouds were stirred up. Heaven and earth changed color. Xianxi and heaven and earth swarmed over from all sides and trapped Blazing Hua. A ray of blood-red sword light whooshed out from the black relic weapon, tearing apart the sky and toward Blazing Hua. What? As soon as the Slayer's move was used, both Lu Ren Huang and Blazing Hua were taken aback. Even civilians who did not know cultivation could tell how powerful this move was. As the sword moved, heaven and earth changed color. The force in heaven and earth was mobilized. This move was more powerful than any profound meaning. Fire Shield. Blazing Hua deserved to be ranked number 2 among the Purgatory's top 10. He could not move, but at this critical moment, black flames burst out from his body. The black flames intertwined with each other and formed something like a cocoon. It seemed to be a tangible object. Bang, bang, bang. The blood-red blade light whizzed out and slashed at the shield formed by the black flames. The flames exploded layer by layer. What shocked Lu Li was that in an instant, there were more than a dozen layers of flames. More black flames were coming out from Blazing Hua's body to build shields of fire. In the end, all the flames were split apart. Blazing Hua was sent flying. His chest was badly mutilated. But when Lu Li checked with psychic power, he noticed that Blazing Hua was not seriously injured. His skin was cracked, and not even his bones were hurt. Very good. Blazing Hua took some healing pellets and put on a creepy grin. Gazing at Lu Li from the distance, he said, Lu Li, you're good. Now you're qualified to see my most powerful means. The strange black flame just now should be one of the 3 mystical fires that Blazing Hua had tamed. Now that Blazing Hua said this, it was obvious that he was going to use the other 2 mystical fires. Lu Li frowned, but he didn't attack at once. Instead, he flew toward Lu Ren Huang and shouted, Father, don't fight back. As Lu Li approached Lu Ren Huang, the wicked bead glowed. Lu Ren Huang didn't want to go into the wicked bead, but Lu Li was determined. Lu Renhuang gave up after some thoughts. With Lu Renhuang in, Luli was fearless. No matter how strong Blazing Hua's flames were, could they really burn Luli, who was wearing a relic armor? Whoosh, Luli flew over, ready to use the Slayer's move at Blazing Hua again. He wanted to see how many black flames Blazing Hua had. Shower of fire. Blazing Hua was one step ahead of Luli. He waved his hands and summoned elements of fire in heaven and earth and condensed them in the air. Then balls of flames came into being and fell down from the sky like shooting stars. The sky was getting darker and darker. Fire rained down from the sky, lighting up half the sky. Even from thousands of miles away, one could see the light here. Swish, swish, countless balls of fire fell, covering an area with a radius of several miles around Luli. Those balls of fire smashed onto the ground and burst into flames. Soon, the area became a sea of fire, like a prison of fire. Luli snorted. The prison of fire was made of profound meanings. It might look scary, but it was not powerful. It might be useful against an army, but it was pointless against Luli. It was not as powerful as the Lotus Lantern. Swish! Once again, Luli used the Slayer's move. Xianqi in heaven and earth was affected. Blazing Hole was suppressed again. There were no more balls of fire in the sky. The remaining ones whooshed down. As the last wave of fireballs fell, the sky grew darker again. Something is not right. All of a sudden, Luli was alarmed. He looked into the sky at once. The wicked bead in his hand glowed at once. Luli disappeared into the wicked bead. Among the balls of fire in the sky, there were some small flames. Those flames were white and looked like the faces of babies. The space around those small flames was twisted. It was evident how hot they were. Blazing Hole was smart. He released many balls of fire and hid the corpse flame among the regular flames. If Luli had been careless, he would have been hit by the corpse flame. Though he had a relic armor, the deaf Taoist once said that the flames were horrifying. If Luli was seriously injured, he might lose his life here today. Buzzing, Luli entered the wicked bead. He did not stop. The wicked bead glowed as he dashed toward Blazing Hua. Fast as the wicked bead was, it was too late. Two small balls of corpse flame smashed into the wicked bead. The flames seemed to have a mind of their own. They attached themselves to the wicked bead and kept on burning it. How powerful the flames are! Luli sensed the consumption of energy in the wicked bead. He was taken aback. The two small balls of flames were as powerful as the deaf Taoist's most powerful strike. Also, the corpse flame was a continuous attack. Its comprehensive power could be compared to 10 deaf Taoists' joint attack. Fortunately, the wicked bead had absorbed a lot of energy over the years. Before Luli set off, the wicked bead's energy had recovered to 90%. It was impossible to crack the wicked bead easily. Bang! Blazing Hole was smashed away. Then, he used the black flames to form a shield to protect himself from most of the blood-red ray of sword light. Whoosh! Luli smashed the wicked bead at Blazing Hua. Blazing Hua was afraid that Luli would come out at any time. He had to use the black flames to protect himself. Chapter 1152. Blazing Hua's heart was weighed down by Luli's words. Luli was right. Blazing Hua had an inexhaustible supply of regular flames. But the more he used, the less he could use. Blazing Hua could go to the perilous lands to collect more when he ran out. However, if he ran out, he would have no other means. At the very least, he could not stop Luli's move. Blazing Hua's strongest weapon was the corpse flame, but could not crack the wicked bead. Blazing Hua was in a dilemma. Blazing Hua wanted to burn Luli or injure him with the corpse flame. Unexpectedly, Luli was so cautious that he went into the wicked bead at once. Whoosh! The wicked bead flew away fast. The next time it appeared, it was 2 miles to the left of Blazing Hua. Luli dashed out and made a move. Swish! Heaven and earth were suppressed. The blood-red ray of sword light appeared. Blazing Hua saw a world of blood. Soon he was smashed away. When he came back to his senses, he saw that Luli had gone into the wicked bead and was no longer in his sight. Whoosh! From the west came a shrill noise. Before Blazing Hua could react, the wicked bead had arrived. Luli came out like a ghost and made another move. Luli had the relic armor, but not to the point of being arrogant. Both the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua could hurt him. Luli had to be extra careful. He did not want to fail miserably. With the wicked bead, Luli had absolute defense and horrifying speed. The Slayer's move could defeat his enemies. Luli was invincible. If he were to fight Blazing Hua head-on, he would not be trying to be a hero, but an idiot. Blazing Hua was only in his 30s, but he had fought countless battles and even fought against avatars of immortals. He had killed many. He knew that some of his enemies died because of arrogance. Naturally, Blazing Hua would not make the same mistake and lose his life. Blazing Hua was smashed away again and again. Every time, he had to rely on the black flames. Blazing Hua was getting more and more anxious. Luli had become a turtle. Blazing Hua could not hurt Luli. He had to endure Luli's attacks. When the black flames ran out, Blazing Hua would be killed or captured by Luli. Whoosh! On the other side, there was a sonic boom. The god's corpse had broken free of its restraints and joined the battle. His head was aching even more. He could only divert part of his attention to fight against the immortal's corpse. He did not want to be caught in a pincer attack. Meteor Sky Flame. Blazing Hua roared and released the meteor heavenly fire, which enveloped the immortal's body. Similarly, there were several balls of Nine Heavens Nether Flame inside the Meteor Sky Flame. He wanted to use the Nine Heavens Nether Flame to burn the immortal corpses. Luli noticed what was happening to the immortal's body, but he did not intend to help. He didn't even control the immortal's body to dodge. The Purple Emperor had once said that his physical body was the strongest under the third heaven of the god world. Luli wanted to see if this physical body was as strong as the Purple Darch said. If the strongest physical body in the divine world's third heaven could not withstand the Nine Heavens Nether Flame, then it would be useless. One fireball after another came crashing down, but the sacred corpse did not react at all. Then, 3 white fireballs flew down and attached themselves to the sacred corpse. Chi! Smoke rose. All of a sudden, the sacred corpse began to glow in a golden light. Luli and Blazing Hua used psychic power to check. They were taken aback. The 3 balls of Nine Heavens Nether Flame attached themselves to the sacred corpse. Apart from the fact that the golden scales on the sacred corpse were a bit black, not a single scale was burned. How is this possible? Blazing Hua murmured in astonishment. The corpse flame was the most powerful flame he knew. An average immortal's body would not be able to withstand the corpse flame. After all, the immortal's body was not a living person. When dead, the immortal's body could only rely on the strength of the body. Was the immortal's body the body of a mighty warrior or a super warrior in the divinity? Good. Luli was satisfied with the immortal's body. Emperor Z was not bluffing. His body was strong. Luli exclaimed. It was a pity that the immortal's body did not have a soul. He was not flexible and his abilities were compromised. But on second thought, if the immortal's body had a soul, would it still be a corpse? Not even Emperor Z would have the courage to use it. Boom! The immortal's body dashed over and landed a punch on Blazing Hua. Blazing Hua was surrounded by black flames to fend off the immortal's body's punch. Blazing Hua took the chance to fly away. He began to run. He had to run. He could not kill Luli. Now, there was another immortal's body. If he stayed any longer, he would only face death. Nobody wanted to die. If Blazing Hua died, the Hua family would be doomed. If Blazing Hua could run away this time, Luli would be afraid and would not go to the hippocampus to destroy the Hua family. Blazing Hua ran away quickly. Flames came out from under his feet. At this moment, he was even faster than the immortal's body. Every time flames came out from under Blazing Hua's feet, the flames would expand, creating a strong repulsive force that made Blazing Hua sped up. Number 2 of the Purgatory's top 10. Impressive. Luli rode on the wicked bead to hunt down Blazing Hua, exclaiming to himself, those warriors had lived for countless years. Maybe they could not reach the final step. But over such a long period of time, They had explored many powerful skills and created many skills. Their abilities could not be underestimated. Blazing Hua had the black flames. Even though Luli could knock Blazing Hua away or injure him every time, Luli could not inflict serious damage on him. Luli did not have a solution. After all, the wicked bead was much faster than Blazing Hua. All Luli had to do was to chase after Blazing Hua. Lu Renhuang was badly injured. One of his arms was broken. With the help of top-level elixirs, it was not difficult to regrow an arm. That being said, Lu Renhuang was furious that his father was injured. Lu Renhuang would kill Blazing Hua even if he had to go to the ends of the world to avenge Lu Renhuang. Where's the Deaf Taoist? Why is it taking him so long to kill a few warriors? Luli was angry that the Deaf Taoist had not come back. Was the Deaf Taoist stalling? Did he not want to confront Blazing Hua face to face? Was he afraid that Blazing Hua would kill him? Soon, they arrived at the exit. Finally, Luli knew where the Deaf Taoist had gone. The Deaf Taoist was standing at the exit with a huge stone column in his hand. Next to him were 3 dead bodies. He was like a warrior that could hold off 10,000 enemies. Deaf Taoist, I will fight you to the death. Blazing Hua was enraged to see the 3 dead bodies. However, the Deaf Taoist dashed into the passageway, paying no attention to Blazing Hua. Luli nodded. Blazing Hua had the corpse fire, and he could move fast. It would be hard to stop him from entering the purgatory of primordial chaos. The Deaf Taoist had entered the passageway earlier to stop Blazing Hua from destroying the passageway, so that Luli could go in. Blazing Hua dashed in a rage. Luli dashed out without any hesitation. He followed Blazing Hua into the passageway and arrived at the wind's abyss. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as Luli entered, he saw the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua fighting at the bottom of the abyss. Blazing Hua was smashed away by the Deaf Taoist's stone column. The Deaf Taoist was screaming in pain because of the corpse fire released by Blazing Hua. Whoosh, the immortal's body dashed toward Blazing Hua. Blazing Hua dared not to stay any longer. He flew toward the top of the wind's abyss. Luli sneered and said, Blazing Hua, where do you think you are going? Go to the prison of thunder and see if I have the guts to go after you. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.